if you just give me a second to make sure that I have this all set up. I don't really need the headset on anymore, so I'm just going to keep it right here. Mind one of the toys, you're not much of a McDonald's guy. I mean, I'm not either, really. Alright, close that out. And now we can bring this here, and that. Because guess what? I've got a new layout. But I actually have to change one thing first. Because otherwise this guy's going to get lost. And we can't be having that. Alright. And now we bring this back up. Imagine that. Yes. The jar. So, the Switch 2. We're going to go through, like, the entirety of the Direct. We're not going to watch it. Actually, you know what? We've got an hour. So, no. We're not. We're just going to skip through it. So, this has been a thing, the Switch 2, very hyped for quite some time. People have been looking forward to the Switch 2 for years, because you figure, this is the longest that Nintendo's gone without a console release since the NES. I don't know the exact interval between the NES and the SNES. I think the SNES came out in 1990, but I'm not sure, and I didn't check. I want to say the NES came out around 85, so that's about 5 years. Another 5 years between the SNES and the N64, approximately. I think they came out in 95. It might have come out in 94. If it came out in 94, we'll just assume that. Let's assume it came out in 94. Then it's 7 years until the GameCube got released in 2001. 5 years from the GameCube to the Wii. I believe it's another 5 years from the Wii in 2006 to the Wii U in 2011. Then 6 years from 2011, the Wii U, to the Switch in 2017, which had like a year and a half of hype for it. It's been 8 years since the Nintendo Switch got released. So, we're now getting to the part where it's like, okay, it's about time for that they reveal a new system. They weren't even the ones who revealed it. It was a leak. At this point, I'm really skeptical about any leaks at all. No straight cut to game consoles by me. Nope, not quite. I'm just giving a brief, like, this is crazy that this is the longest time there's been between any two Nintendo consoles. So anyway, so they led off with Mario Kart. And of course, the cow is the main highlight here. Hold up. Where's... Not quite there yet. There we are. No, we're not there yet. Come on. Work with me. There, okay. So, Mario Kart World. Smash TV's gaming bread and butter. Basically. I mean, Mario Party has kind of usurped that for now. So, Mario Kart World. Honestly, it looks good. It looks like a good, fun Mario Kart game. There are an insane amount of playable characters, which I know they revealed practically all of them. There was, what, like 24? Like, this is a long way from Super Mario Kart having, like, 8. If they even had that much. I mean, figure the first Mario Party only had 6. It was Mario, Luigi, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Peach, and Wario. That's it for the first Mario Party. 24 plus alt costumes, which appear as separate races in the menu, apparently. Yes, I forgot about the alt costumes. Art style? Pretty good. No real complaints there. It's got like the trick system, you can like flip around. That looks neat. I do... Like, this looks like a certainly not bad game whatsoever. Then they revealed the price tag, $80. We'll talk about prices in a bit. Like, I'm just talking about the quality of the game as it looks. And it looks like a pretty quality Mario Kart game. It looks like they're kind of incorporating a little bit of Diddy Kong Racing with, like, oh look, they've also got, like, you know, jet skis, or their cars turn to planes. That's cool. Honestly, I like that a lot better than the glider. I thought the glider was dumb. Like, it was a neat thing when it first came out, I think in Mario Kart Wii. Since then, though, it's like, I'm sick of gliders. And also, I have heard that they're ditching the, like, 3-part system for karts. I'm so happy. I'm so happy that they got rid of that, because now it's just like, there's no meta anymore. Yes, just let us pick the funny... Like, I'm sure there's gonna be a meta vehicle anyway. But it's not mix and match to get the correct car. They first came out in 7? You might be right. Yeah. Which is ironic, because I actually never played 7. But I think that just because Mario Kart 8 lasted for, you know, a decade. You know. Like, Mario Kart kind of did the GTA 5 thing. Except Mario Kart basically released an entire second game within that game with another, what, like 12 Grand Prix? I think it was 12. It was 10 or 12. Which is an insane amount of content, and that's the only microtransaction they had, was just to get more direct content. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. But anyway, when was the last time I got a hard copy of a game, or is it all web now? I like getting physical copies of games. Most of the time, those happen to come in gifts. Like, the last one that I got was... the Paper Mario 1000-Year Door remake. That's the most recent, I should say, physical game that came out that I got. I also got the Metroid Prime remaster. Like, I've got plenty of physical game copies. I prefer the physical game copies, because we don't quite have... See, I understand from a business standpoint, like, don't share things, that other people buy them as well. From a consumer standpoint, that's stupid. If I have this game and I want to let my friends borrow this game, I should just be allowed to let my friends borrow this game, not with a 2-week trial period or anything like that. Like, if I have this game and I want to share it with other people, I should be able to. You can do that with a physical game. You can't do that with digital. What's your opinion on the hate that the Wii U got? So that's the interesting thing about that. I don't think the Wii U got a whole lot of hate. I'm sure it did because of Nintendo and it's the direct sequel to the Wii. The Wii U didn't succeed because the Wii U was horribly advertised. And they weren't clear with what it was. Now, that's an entire failure on the company's part, not necessarily the system. The system, I don't think, was a failure in terms of the games that came out. Sure, there weren't a lot, but what did come out was pretty good. Hello. Welcome. Yes, I in fact just beat the game like 15 minutes ago. In fact, actually, you bring up a very good point. I should change the stream thing from Link to the Past to talk show. We're just chilling, bro. I don't remember how to. Oh, here we go. Edit stream info. Category. Here we go. Just chatting. We'll put it just chatting. Finally a Tomcast. I mean, technically. Alright. So, I'm sorry that you missed the Link to the Past. You can catch the last VOD and this VOD here on Twitch. I'll get it up on YouTube eventually if you don't watch in that time. We would like to play, yes. They did such a good job advertising the Wii, and that became such a good console that it's... We'll touch on that again in a bit, because that's actually a very important thing. Yeah, the regular Wii was fantastically advertised, and the gimmick was, I think, very well received. It's been a long time since your Switch got banned, so it's been a long time. It's been a long time. It's mostly PC. You got your Switch banned? How did you get your Switch banned? What'd you do? Like jailbreak it or something? But no. So to continue, Getting back on track. Mario Kart World looks good. It looks like a good Mario Kart game. And were not for the price point, I would probably be really, really hyped about it. Sorry for another time, but not a malicious thing. Noted. So, now we're going to get to where they started to go into their hardware bits for this. The C button. They put, like, this stream was, if you ask me, really dumb. Because the C button, it's a C for communicate, or a C for chat. Okay, now, what baffles me is how much they were like, how much they pushed this thing. Why would you push a chat button? Like, okay, it's neat that you have the feature. That's like a secondary thing. Like, the mouse thing is a lot more, not only more important, but a lot more functional than this thing. You know how many people are not going to use a stupid little C button? The number of that is going to be high. Also, I'm going to... Hold on, give me just a second. I would need to move the... Move this so that I can... There, now I can point at it, and it looks like it's more interactive. Okay, I'm not going to go that far, but, like, this thing is not revolutionary. If I want to talk to people, I have Discord. Like, people don't, like, Nintendo, I know that you're always late with your hardware, but good lord, we had this back in 2006. Almost 19 years ago. This is not a talking point. This is, hey, we finally added it. Haha, it's good. C-button becomes useless unless you pay for online. Yes, that is a very good point that I meant to bring up and did kind of forget about. If you don't pay for the online, the C button does nothing. And they're selling it so much, it makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense. Like, again, this is the amount of time they spent talking about the mouse feature of the Joy-Con 2s, they should have been spending on the C button. And the amount of time they spent talking about the C button and, you know, their whole chat system should have been going to the other thing. Like, hey, here's infrastructure that we should have had a decade ago. Oopsie. Maybe meant for a particular market, for instance, maybe chatting more popular in Japan. Maybe it is. And, you know, that's kind of more the reason I think, like, the Japanese market, from what I know, is the main reason why they had, like, Street Pass. And, like, they put so much into their portable systems to the point of making the Switch be the first portable home console. Revolutionary, genuinely. You figure the Steam Deck copied off of that. That's already a huge deal. But then where do you go with this? Like, what do? You've already made a portable system that's got motion controls, so you can kind of, like, you know, you'd be whacking with it. You go boop, blah, blah. C-button is to force antisocial to be social. The marketers of Nintendo are assholes. But that's the thing. If that's the point of it, it's a failure from minute one. A button isn't going to make people be social. You can't force somebody to be social in these sorts of games. Not only that, but because you have to be, like... It's antithetical to their entire parental control thing. Here's why. You have to... Like, I'm sure you can only do it with friends. So, okay, you're not just going to get BM'd by random people, because otherwise it's just going to be old Halo and COD lobbies again, but this time with Mario Kart and Smash Bros. Good lord, the voice chat in Smash Bros. That's going to get awful. Your social credit score is going to skyrocket. I mean, that's the thing, though. Like, the games market has gone in reverse of what it used to be. Like, before, it was all about, like, the multiplayer experience and chatting and all that stuff. Between, like, you know, the Xbox 360's release in 06, 07, whatever that was. Or 04 even, I guess. 05. Well, I don't know. Like, Xbox Live was pretty much the revolutionary point of voice chat. They tried to put it into PlayStation and mixed success, because it just worked so well on Xbox. Like, the 360 won its generation. That is not even a question. Okay, the Wii won in other ways. but the 360 absolutely won everything else. Waiting for a case where some poor kid gets flashed online via the Nintendo camera. That's the thing. There's no way they haven't thought of the use scenario, and that's, you know, it's not just like a, okay, everybody's chatting, like, let's bring up, like, some of their, you know, gamer chat thing. This guy with the oversized suit jacket. I feel bad for him because that's just kind of, like you can't really control that. Like, okay, it's just Discord. Literally, it's just Discord. It's the stackiest of sack suits. The gaming industry has little concern for social behavior and let's make money. I was getting to that, actually. I didn't quite finish the thought. Like, this was revolutionary back with the Xbox 360, where communication and online games were fresh, they were brand new. Holy crap, I could play Halo 2 against 7 people I've never even met before. Like, who are these gamer tags? They'll have their own emblems. This guy is like 10 years older than I am. What the heck is this? I could just play this game with random people. This is great. I'm better than half these people, but the rest of them are better than me. I have a reason to strive for this. And we can communicate. We can, you know, we can like, hey, I'm at Sniper. Okay, like, do the E3 talk. Except that was actually legit at that time. But since then, the novelty is worn off. Not to mention restrictions because, you know, people can't be trusted with the words they say on a live chat. Not talking about you guys. You guys are great. I'm talking about a voice chat that's completely unmonitored and totally anonymous. We put Discord on the Switch 2 and had screen sharing run at 2 FPS. I at least commend Nintendo for being upfront and honest with it genuinely only having a 17 frames per second share. I get it. It's kind of dumb, but I get it. And like I said, I'm glad they were at least honest about it. By the way, he can call you names while doing so. If that'll just play with friends or just the game. Exactly. That's how the mindset has changed. People don't go into pub lobbies and start talking to people unless you're like of the age that you still go back and play TF2. Or like any of the old games as they were. Not talking the remakes. The remakes don't count. It's the original games. And even then, you can't do that anymore because Xbox Live for the 360 doesn't exist anymore. What kind of Halo days recall words you didn't know existed when you were 12? Exactly. And that's how it was. But Nintendo is 19 years late on this front. Like, this is... It's neat that it's a feature and that they have it now, but it's so not useful anymore. People don't communicate online with that anymore. TF2 lobbies are so vocal back in the day, but now it's kind of rare to hear active voice chatting. And if it is, it's usually like 3 people. Yeah. And a lot of that is just because we all have designed our own communities with things like Skype and Discord, whether it's your IRL friends or new people that you've met, that it just works. And there's no need to find and talk to randos. Like, guaranteed that, like, of the 12 people in a TF2 game, 8 of them are in a, maybe like 6 of them are in a Discord call or otherwise on Discord or some other chat feature that's out there. 3 of them are in voice chat and 1 of them just doesn't have a mic at all. Like, we have shut ourselves away in a way that's like, it's weirdly safer, but it's also... The sense of online community is gone. It's like you are a tiny speck over an entire canvas when it comes to most social media, or you've sequestered yourself in a box and you don't want to come out of it because why would I do that when I can just keep talking to the people in the box and just stay within my own community? It's grim, Jim. Playing devil's advocate. Maybe Nintendo knows it's not super popular, but it keeps to accommodate a part of their demo that does want it. Still going for every last cent. That's possible. I can't quite deny that. I don't this is the sort of thing that I don't think it's a misstep necessarily, but they put way too much focus. Like, seriously, the presentation regarding the C button alone. Regarding the C button started at 5:56, and they didn't end this part of the presentation. We'll talk about the camera in a second, because the camera is included with all that. They spent a full 6 minutes, 5.5 approximately, on this feature that says right here, you need the online to use it. What's the point? What's the point? Well, I know the point, but it's exactly a tenth of the entire direct was spent for a thing that's like, hey, they can spend 2 minutes on this, and the other 4 minutes were like, they spent a long time like the haptic feedback, like, oh, the ice cubes filling the glass, you can feel them shake around in the Wii remote, or the Joy-Con rather. That's actually cool, because that's like, okay, this thing actually has like decent quality to it. And then of course the drift happened, but beyond that, the Joy-Cons were a really cool controller, and that deserved to have a lot of time spent on it. The chat C button and the Nintendo scored is not worth 5 to 6 minutes. Pretty sure every console company does this. PC already killed 80% of them, but they always release new systems and stuff which are almost no different from the last. Sort of. That's kind of the thing. We had such amazing spikes in video game changing. Like, video games evolved so rapidly. I mean, technology in general evolved so rapidly, but now we've reached the diminishing returns point. I mean, we've really reached the diminishing returns point 10 years ago. But we're really deep in it now. Like, you figure, over the 90s, we went from 8-bit to 16-bit to 64-bit, moving around a 3D space with 3D polygons and, like, actual textures and shading. It wasn't all pixel art anymore. Mind blown. And then the GameCube and like the PS2 came out. You can now have a system that also plays DVDs. The visual quality has gone up so high. There's so many polygons here. This thing looks like a smooth round object. Nowadays it doesn't, but back then it definitely did. And then online gaming. Holy crap. But then what major things have happened since then? Like, motion control with the Wii was kind of the biggest innovation. Like, Microsoft and Sony don't really do a whole lot of innovation. Now, granted, Sony did make a VR headset. That's kind of a big deal. Granted, so did Nintendo, but that was the Virtual Boy, and we don't talk about the Virtual Boy. Be interested in looking up any PR/rollout presentations from Nintendo itself on YouTube or something. Maybe they address some of this stuff. Maybe they do. Nintendo makes mistakes like anyone else, but they're no idiots and probably have some reasoning. That's the thing, and we'll get to that closer to the end, because that's very much a closing thought regarding Nintendo right now. VR, but that is a forefront/normalized format. Until they can make VR headsets that only cost $200 and work perfectly like they're supposed to, VR is not going to take off. It's way too expensive. It's essentially a niche facet of the hobby. And it's kind of a shame. So let's backtrack slightly. The Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Oh my god. How much of a misstep this is. And also, close enough. Welcome back, Kinect. We don't need a Nintendo Switch 2 camera. Motion controls are neat. Recording via a camera is not. We already had this concept with the Kinect. You know what it's good for? Keeping the geriatric moving in a nursing home. I'm sorry, but it's true. It's the same reason Just Dance got a Wii release in the year of our Lord 2023. Or whenever the last one was. I remember it being extraordinarily late, and that being like the last game that the Wii was ever going to get. Mamma mia, what are you doing? Switch 2 camera? Why? Won't do VR, your eyes get tired looking at screens that work for nearly 8 hours. And that's valid. You're like getting Japanese businessmen to admit that they made a mistake. If Iwata was still alive and running the show, would believe they make a formal apology and statement saying they screwed up. That's the thing. I don't think they realize they screwed up yet. Because they also kind of know that people are going to buy it. Of course they are. It's kind of a shame, but they are. The Switch 2 camera doesn't work on PC. It's a USB-C device. If your computer has a USB-C port, it should work. It'll probably not work great, but it's probably not going to work great to begin with. It's probably going to have, like, like my webcam that you all are looking at me right now in is probably going to be 100 times better than that camera's going to be. Are OLED monitors worth it? I will be dead honest. I have never looked into an OLED, like, for any reason. So I have no research on whether or not it's better. Apparently it's pretty good, and it's apparently better than LCD in some ways, but is like less reliable in some other ways. I don't entirely know. So I hate to say it, but you're gonna have to do your own research on that in order to really get a good thing on it. I'll continue in a second. Just let me hydrate. I'm talking a lot right now. I've heard of the conspiracy that Yoshi is a Pokemon. Nintendo don't really do crossovers like that. I don't think that conspiracy really flies. I feel like conspiracy has about as much... I think that conspiracy theory holds about as much water as, what's the one? Rosalina is the daughter of Luigi and Peach. I think it's about the same, like, floating level as that. And by that, I mean sunk to the bottom of the lagoon. Is Nintendo. They love to make things that don't natively work on PC without screwing around. True. Case in point, this thing. It almost works, but it's kind of hard to go through sometimes. And in fact, so the DK64 randomizer, which I've messed around a little bit in, there's one, when I was trying to set it, I accidentally had this plugged in as well. So now 2 buttons on this controller work for the DK64 rando. Everything else works with the other controller, which makes it completely unplayable because I'm not reaching over my other controller to play the game. Now, should you use the Switch not to justify a Switch 2? And that's fair. Like, I'm not trying to sell it or disparage you from selling it. Like, I believe you all can make your own choices. However, I'm just going over, like, things that may be missteps and things that they may have that's good. And if you don't see yourself using it that much, then it's up to you. Now, the next stream, you want to do a little homework on this. Maybe the culture of Nintendo needs to catch up and are indeed behind. Still capable of great games with some weird quirks. No, that is literally Nintendo's entire MO. Is to not use the latest gen hardware, specifically to not have it as a crutch. But they kind of sunk too far into that philosophy and now are so behind in hardware that resolution in their games is laughable compared to what's available in the market. But their games are still pretty fun. But then you still get the problems like Breath of the Wild lagging on native hardware when it's docked. Like, when it should be able to use more of its power, it's not able to. Blows my mind. No, they've been behind for a lot longer. They haven't been cutting edge since GameCube. Legit, Nintendo has not been cutting edge since the GameCube. You know, people always joke that the Wii was just 2 GameCubes taped together. It's really true. They didn't hit 720p resolution. Was the Wii 720? I think some games might have been 720p on the Wii, but don't quote me on that, and I'm probably wrong. In fact, I'm definitely wrong. The Wii was not 720p. The Wii was like 480p tops. I'd have to look into that. I don't remember for sure. But, like, they bumped it up and had, I think, 1080p resolution on the Wii U. And then they cut it back down to 720 for the screen, but 1080p when you have it docked. So now they've got 1080 free roam and 4K docked. That's a pretty substantial upgrade. I think the Switch 2 is actually going to wind up not necessarily blowing people away with, like, graphical fidelity, but I think it's going to do a lot better than people are expecting. Nintendo with the whole praise of not caring about keeping up with competitors go their heads and got slapped with many things. Again, we'll get to that. One thing Nintendo has better than a lot of game companies is advertising. Yeah, when they're smart about it. All right, so we've harped on the hardware long enough. Parental control, game share. Okay, this is game share. Actually, this is pretty dope. So one person with the game can connect to multiple people who don't have the game to play a game. Granted, that's going to be a lot more of a thing in Japan, where a lot more people will have the system and will travel with it, whereas odds are everybody's going to have their own with like people in America because, oh, we'll go over to this friend's house. This friend has it. But then everybody's going to congregate to that one house. There's not going to really be very many times where that this is going to be a thing. So it's going to be a less used option, but it's actually a really good option. Not option, but you know what I mean. Nintendo Download Play. Yeah, it's that. It's close enough. Welcome back, PictoChat. Except not actually PictoChat. If PictoChat came back, that would be hilarious. Other examples Nintendo based on what we are talking about. You mean regarding advertising? I mean, really, I feel like game advertising is more for the game itself and not for platforms anymore. Because games, unless they're Nintendo games, they're really not tied to platforms. Which is part of the reason why I think the PlayStation kind of suffers and why the Xbox has become so obsolete. Not obsolete, irrelevant. They remove the GameCube option, or the game share option, due to the fact that the game creators individually will lose a ton of money on sales and the others can access it for virtually free. I don't think they'll remove it. They've already announced it. I don't think they're going to remove it. And this is just for multiplayer games. If you want to play it on your own, you'll still need to buy it yourself. As far as being a little behind. No. So here's the thing. When I could tell, Xbox pushed forward with the online thing as much as they could, whereas PlayStation tried its best to... PlayStation basically tried to be the Apple of gaming consoles. In terms of how, like, Apple was always at the forefront with their picture, PlayStation was always at the forefront of, like, pure graphical fidelity. Xbox tried to keep, like, an in-between point, and that's why I think the 360 did so good, and why it started to fall off of the One when they went only for graphic upgrades. The game share is also only specific titles can be coded allowed for it in the game. Yes. Like, I would expect this maybe for in-house Nintendo titles like Super Mario 3D World, as shown as the example. Whereas, like, a co-op mode in a... Like, I could see this maybe happening for, like, Duskbloods, which we'll get to that as well. The later Switch 2 is being delayed. Yes, I do know that they are delaying pre-order. Wait, Liberty of Switch 2 is being delayed? I know that the pre-orders were delayed. Because I know last I saw they wanted to go still push forward with the June 5th release date. Has that changed? It has changed. Or am I getting too far ahead? I'll read that in a second. So, game share, this is actually good. I think this is a good thing. It's a little niche, but I think it'll work. Orders are delayed specifically for the US only. Well, that makes sense. Anyway, so game share. Ability to software updates for select titles. Yes. So this is where it goes over like the actual things with it. So you can see the difference, larger screen. You can't really go wrong with that, but it keeps the same thickness, which is actually really good. High definition display. You know, it's got more pixels per pixel. Fantastic. And look, we even get Boshi. The tariffs, yeah. Smooth gameplay up to 120 FPS while it's docked. This is kind of a big deal, because if they're saying that they can push 120 FPS with a full game, that means that there's some power under the hood. So you kind of gotta wait for, like, you know, actual processing between graphics and the CPU. However, the fact that they can boast this is kind of a good thing. Nintendo moved manufacturing plants from China to Taiwan to try and mitigate the losses of the tariffs and ended up having to pay more because Taiwan has heavier tariffs. Oof. That's genuinely an oof moment. So yeah, there's the like display of that. The like LCD with HDR support. So I'm gonna be completely honest. I can do without HDR. I don't see enough of a difference. Like, I use HDR for Monster Hunter Wilds. That is like the only thing so far that I have seen an actual like, oh hey, this actually looks better with HDR. I haven't tried it on a lot of things, granted. But like when like this comparison, like, okay, the picture on the right looks a little more muted, I guess. But that just looks like it's a saturation issue, not HDR. This could entirely just be a me thing. I'm not sure. And I don't mean a me like Tomodachi Life, which, oh boy, that's gonna be fun. Joy-Con 2, the Joy-Con 2 is attached magnetically. This was also a very important part of the presentation. They showed, like, okay, they didn't show it directly, but the fact that there's like a switch that holds it in place, that's good. I do enjoy that they showed how they attach, and that, hey, it's actually pretty firmly in there. That's good. HDR is one of those things where the market is so weird because things are different. Kinds of HDR, some look better or worse than standard, and even when HDR is on, it doesn't do much for most titles. Not worried about current lenses, are pretty good at the most basic level at this point. Yeah, like I said, HDR, some people might be a selling point. For me, it isn't, so whatever. The Joy-Cons seem pretty good qualities so far. The SL and SR buttons being larger, yes. Needing to use those tiny little buttons on the tiny little Joy-Con already was already enough of a hassle. I'm so glad that they enlarged them. Larger controls. So this part was funny to me. Larger control sticks. 6, 7. You get 10 seconds of them saying the control stick is larger, which I feel like is... So, the cope part of me very much wants to hope that them saying, oh, the control sticks are larger means that they're more durable and they're not going to deal with drift. But I'm so skeptical of it, and they didn't address Joy-Con drift at all in this presentation. How has Nintendo gone... Excuse me, how has Nintendo gone this long without once, like, issuing, like, an official thing like, hey, we know Joy-Con drift exists. We're sorry. We'll try to fix it. Get larger control sticks for real, man. Like, the joystick size wasn't that big of an issue. Like, you know, the size didn't matter. But the fact that they could break so easily and you get the drift... That's a much bigger deal. Yeah, okay, there's kits to fix it yourself, or you can send it in to them to get fixed. That's dumb. Just make a higher quality thing. I think I've had one instance of stick drift in one other controller, and I think it was an Xbox controller. I don't remember when it was that I got it, but it was definitely an instance of stick drift. I had gotten that, and there was like a corrosion that was happening with one of my N64 control sticks where it was actually having the opposite of drift. It wasn't registering enough in one direction, but it wasn't like pulling in the other direction. Like the stick was starting to get grody. I don't know. They were all controllers, and there was just the one. Or we're thinking Hall Effect joysticks or some other in-house anti-drift methods. I'm hoping they do Hall Effect, which I actually just read about the other day. It's actually pretty cool. Like, the fact that you can use magnets like that, I'm kind of surprised. And the fact that they already have magnets in the Joy-Cons to mount them onto the Switch itself, they could be using Hall Effect on that. But the fact that they haven't talked about it is a little scary. Really can't tell. I'm really hoping that they're using Hall Effect, or they just have more durable hardware in the Joy-Cons to prevent the stick drift. I just don't want it to happen again. They already charge us so much for the Joy-Cons. I don't want to deal with it again. And now we get to the mouse controls using the Joy-Con 2. So this seems to be their big motion gimmick. Because you can use both of them as mice at the exact same time. And yet, they spent about as much time on that as they did with the larger joysticks? What do you mean? No, no. The mouse thing, okay, it's a little gimmicky, and it's a little restricted because you have to have a table, because most people don't have enough thigh real estate, even in America, to really use your thighs to do the mouse thing. So you would need a desk. That can be a little bit of a killjoy, just because, like, okay, the Switch boasted, like, okay, you can set that up, you put your hands, like, up behind your head and play the game like that, with the Joy-Cons separated. Paraplegic, we are getting to that. But, like, seriously, the mouse thing actually has some, like, it's the first controller that is actually a mouse since the, like, Nintendo mouse they've released for Mario Paint. Which I'm surprised they didn't make a Mario Paint 2. To have that as like an art suite for the Switch 2, since you have the mouse option. No, I'm using myself as an example. I don't have much real estate on my thighs to, like, use, to have, like, as a wide mouse pad for that certain thing, thus requiring the usage of a desk. So, like, any game that would use that, you can't, like, oh, Joy-Con, like, wave them out and everything, all that cool. Like, it just don't work. Improved speakers, clearer audio. Okay, yeah, that's a good thing. Always good to have higher audio fidelity. You can't really complain about it. Built-in mic. Nah. You don't need a built-in mic. How do you know when it stops listening? Unless the console's completely powered off. And even then, is anything really turned completely off anymore? I say as I look over at my cell phone. You didn't need a built-in mic. You really don't. I mean, okay, I guess it's better than, like, you need a separate mic thing, but, like, I remember the DS microphone. It's not good. 3DS microphone. It's not good. I don't trust them to have good quality microphones, even if they do insist that it has filtration for game and outside noise and only registers voice. I don't trust it. Be good. The speaker part is great because you remember how bad the built-in speakers of the first Switch are. They're not that terrible, I don't think. Not to me. Maybe compared to the Steam Deck. I don't have a Steam Deck, so that would explain why I don't have the comparison. I don't think they're that terrible. I don't think they're that great either. Alright, let's move on. We're only about a quarter of the way into the Direct. So, new stand, freely adjustable viewing angle. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. I mean, like, the tilting it that far back, it looks a little silly, but yes, I hated the first Switch's kickstand. The first Switch's kickstand is genuinely awful. It's a tiny piece of plastic that flips out, and I'm surprised that I haven't broken the clip for it yet. This stand is so much better, and the fact that you can adjust it makes it so much better. Good upgrade. Good work. The OLED looked better, but this one is the best. I never saw the OLED one, so I'll take your word for it. This one is definitely better, and mwah, yes, good. Another good upgrade. 2 USB-C ports. Another fantastic upgrade. It pissed me off so much that, like, oh, battery's running low on the Switch. Guess I better lay it flat and plug it in, because I can't, there's no way to, like, set it up unless I have to either hold it or lay it flat. There's no having it up on the kickstand. Like, that was just not well thought through. Having the one on the bottom because you need it for the dock? Okay. Ugh. Having the one on top now so you can charge it that way while still having it be on the kickstand is fantastic. The fact that they're just like, you can use it for the camera. It's just like, okay. Haha, tell yourself that, Nintendo. That's funny. Should have had 2 from the start. Total agreement. Total agreement. If you're looking to get a new gaming tower, I think you finally found one. Nice. Are you going for a prefab or are you building from scratch? Anyway, to progress. Storage. This was another big thing. 256 gigs. Why did it just... Honestly, also a huge deal. The Switch's 32 gig thing was really limiting. The fact that they have octupled it is fantastic. I honestly would have expected half of that much memory, and thus very much necessitating a micro SD card. 256 gigs? You might not even reach that. But there's also micro SD cards that go up to a terabyte now. Hopefully the Express type, considering that's the only one they're using for the Switch 2. Which I get it. Apparently it's really good. I imagine it's probably also a little bit more on the expensive side. But that's fine. Extra storage is always good. I hope you were 512. I'd pay more for 512. Yeah, no, I would totally agree. Like, I feel like Nintendo's probably the only gaming company anymore who understands the concept of optimizing the games. You could argue that that's just because the games are just lower, like, spec quality, and you might be right. When you found a Vengeance A7500 gaming PC, AMD Ryzen 7 9800. I'm not well versed on AMD graphics processors. Or no, that's the CPU. Alright, that's probably good then. I mean, it's not an Intel. I say looking over at my CPU, which is an Intel, and runs so freaking hot. 5070 Ti, 32 gig DDR5. If the motherboard allows it, I would say even splurge on an extra 32, because, hey, 64 gigs of RAM, you can never go wrong with having too much RAM. 1 terabyte SSD and Windows 11. You have your own opinion on Windows 11. That's all I can say about that. If it's a gaming rig, you really can't go wrong with having the extra RAM. Definitely, I would say get extra size for SSD. So far, some pros, some cons. Do they even do consumer tests now? They probably have very strict quality assurance teams that also probably brown nose a lot. So, I don't know. Again, we'll talk about that later. In most cases, Nintendo's great at optimization, because argue they have some stinkers in that case. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, for as powerful as the Switch was, Breath of the Wild was kind of a big deal. The fact that that could even run. 3.1K for that pre-built. Yeah, I mean, for that, that's not terrible. That's a pretty good PC from the way I see it. Again, I'm not up to date with, like, AMD processors, let alone AMD graphics cards. So, if it looks good, and it looks like it has a lot of pretty good parts, and only for 3,100, I feel like I wonder, like, okay, what's the catch? Does it only have, like, one cooling fan? Does it have, like, a really crappy, like, the lowest bargain bin AIO cooling? Like, I gotta wonder what the catch is, but that sounds pretty good. Hopefully, all of it works well. Anyway, let's move on. So, memory stuff, yeah, this was a thing. The menu for it is, like, mildly better. That's it. Otherwise, it's the exact same menu format, which, honestly, the Switch menu isn't that terrible. But I get the real bad feeling they're not going to allow for any extra customization than just light or dark theme. Which is such a shame, because 3DS had so many good themes. I wish that I could export the Majora's Mask 3DS theme that I have and put that on the Switch, and I guess the Switch 2 later on. The home menu is also the same. Yeah. They could... This feels like a case of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's not awful. Okay, the, like, choosing a game selection just being a horizontal bar, yeah, that could be better. I'd much rather prefer a grid, like they do with, the the SNES, the N64, the NES games, and I imagine the GameCube games when that comes out. Got 6 fans in the tower. Okay, that's pretty good then. I would want to know what the processor cooling is, though. The menu using those keys. The menu, even if it's just like a little jingle, would do. I mean, maybe. No, this you said they showed it on the treehouse. Yeah. Nintendo had 8 years to fix that with the Switch, and they never did. So I have no hopes for that for the Switch 2, but ultimately it's a cosmetic thing. So I'm not, having the cosmetic options are nice. They're not really necessary. And I guess Nintendo has gone along that route, which is kind of a shame, because like I said, I would love to be able to just have, like, my old themes. I would love to have Majora's Mask theme on my Switch. It would be fantastic. But I digress. So, built-in fan for the dock. Genuinely amazing. For one, apparently people were having problems with like the Switch bending because it was overheating in the dock. I'm so glad I never had that problem. I hope I continue to not have that problem. This is amazing because this helps prevent that problem and keep it cooler, and a cooler machine runs more effectively. Everybody knows it. So this is a very, very, very good change. Also probably accounts for a little bit of the dock price, but okay. Also isn't hard to implement over some PNGs and looping audio files if Nintendo really wanted to do it. You're also right. It's an extra little quality of life adjustment that would go a long way towards people being happier with the product. Not that people weren't happy with the Switch, but that would be a couple extra points that the Switch 2 kind of needs. So yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. And then there's this. Where are the magnets? The Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Good Lord. Terrible. It's a tech demo. Why are you charging for it? Don't charge for a tech demo. Nobody does that. PlayStation didn't do that, and their consoles, like, the PlayStation 3 was sold for $599 US. Like, why? Nobody's going to pay money for the tech demo. Okay, I'm lying. Some people, not I'm lying, but I'm going to be wrong, and I hate that I'm going to be wrong. Some people are going to pay for the tech demo. But, like, no, you ship the tech demo with the product so that we can understand it. I'm going to look up a video of this from somebody who is going to play it. Because that person realized that, hey, I can make a video on it. And then people will watch it because people won't want to buy it themselves. It's a genius strategy for them. For the layperson who isn't going to do that, this is not going to sell like anything. The reason why they're charging for it is because Reggie isn't around. Reggie had to convince Nintendo to include Wii Sports in the Wii. They don't like the idea of giving things they've worked on away for free. I can understand that to a degree, but the precedent has already been set with PlayStation's little Astrobot fella. I'm not talking about the Astrobot game that looks like it's decently fun, and that got Game of the Year, probably very deserving. I'd love to play it. I don't have a PS5. I'm not going to get it for one game. If there's ever a different way to play it, then I will probably play it 10. But I doubt it. What surprised you about all this, having more of the Japanese companies and clients extensively, they want to be the best. They can be very stringent, and it surprises me that a story company like Nintendo seems a little wayward. Again, we will get to that, because this isn't the first time Nintendo's gotten like this. This is a new level for them, but still. This is a tech demo. I understand the whole point of not giving away for free, but that's why this will be packaged with the console. It's part of the price of the console. Like, $20 of the $450 should be going towards this tech demo pre-installed. So hey, you can watch it if you want or not. It's just pre-packaged. It's just there. You don't have to play it, but it's there. And a better preview with the 5080 Core i9. Oh, there you go. Nice. But anyway, Is a new source for emus, the birds, obviously. No projects known for PS5, just PS4 with, yeah, the thing that's probably doing the thing with a game whose 10th anniversary passed and nothing got announced for it. Ha ha ha! It hurts. But no. Again, I can understand the concept of not giving away something for free that you've worked on. But at that point, they shouldn't have made this. If the entire point was to sell this, then wow. Why? Report that thinks we can solve the problem. Good luck. This just in. Local small-time streamer chat member has completely fixed Nintendo. Nintendo has now released a press conference stating, "We were bad, but now we're good." Power supplies, of course, are 100 watt, 80 plus gold, fully modular. Nice. 1000 watt. That makes more sense. Then we tackle the Middle East piece. And after that, you can make a functional state in the Balkans. I'm sorry. Anyway, moving on. Welcome Tour, absolute misstep. Here it is, the micro SD express cards. Already kind of talked about that. Sending your data from the Switch to the Switch 2. Actually kind of a big deal. I did not expect them to actually allow you to transfer games, yes, considering I already knew that they were talking about having it be backwards compatible. Save data, I'm surprised they allowed you to transfer it over. I figured it was going to need to be clean slate, so I figured, like, okay, I'm probably never going to use the Switch 2 to play Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, because I'm probably just never going to want to have to go through the entire amount of the games again. I just play them on the regular Switch. The fact that you wouldn't be able to transfer save data would have been a huge turn-off point, but the fact that you can, right move. Good work. Hold on, I just wanted to move this so I can actually see it over here. There we go. Alright. So transfer save data is really good. Pro controller, and again, they're pushing this stupid C button. Ugh. I mean, it looks like a very clean controller. The most curious part to me are the GR and the GL buttons. Like the great response and the good luck buttons. Like, very interesting. Like, I don't... Does the PlayStation controller have those, like the new ones? Or how about, like, Xbox controllers? Do they have anything like this? I know that there's some, like, wacky third-party controllers that have, like, extra buttons you can do this sort of thing with, but, like, this is the first time that I've seen them actually try to put buttons on the back of the controller. Xbox Elite controllers with back paddles? Fair enough. Okay, so this isn't a brand new concept, it's just the first time I've seen it, and... I mean, honestly... This shit got enough buttons on it. I don't need more. I really don't need more. This is peak controller design. I know that the A button is a little bit see-through at the moment. Maybe it's nostalgia, but to me, this controller is peak controller design. It's probably mostly nostalgia. There's really nothing wrong with the Xbox controller either. And in fact, like, I was fine with the original Xbox controller. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Steam Deck has 2 sets of paddles. Fair enough. Tag something relevant on Twitter under your personal account. Volume warning if you watch it an hour later. I will watch it later. But thank you for sending that. I will check that out. All these third-party controllers have back paddles. Fair enough. I guess I'm just behind the times. Still, though, it's just interesting that, you know, it's a first-party controller now. Like, Steam Deck... The Steam Deck is such a derivative console, in a good way, that's still kind of crazy. But, like, it makes sense that it would have, like, wacky extra stuff. Don't know if the back paddles have officially used in Nintendo games. This is purely for the third-party devs. Considering that, if I recall correctly, they branded these as, like, oh, yeah, these are used for, like, extraneous button mapping. That makes sense. Because with Dark Souls, I can dodge without taking my thumb off the stick. Yes, that would be fantastic, actually. I wonder if they're going to push that for Duskbloods. Again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. audio jack, because they really, really want to push that. That's the devs, giant suit jacket, and this was the release date, June 5th. Honestly, I think that this is another misstep. Nintendo Switch, they had like at least half a year of hype before like even announcing the release date, I feel. I don't remember for sure, but I feel like they were hyping it up for a really, really long time. Switch 2, it got leaked in what, January? And then like it was took a couple weeks and they'd be like, yeah, okay, Switch 2, it exists. Big whoop. And then they only just announced this direct like it feels like a few weeks ago, maybe in a month. Around that one is 32 gig, 216 DDR5. Okay, that's not bad. For the information of anyone curious, the OG Switch Pro controller does not work on Switch 2. Oh no. I get it. It doesn't have the C button. Really? That's actually really, really disappointing. I really don't want to spend another $80 on a Pro controller. Really don't. I don't think we're gonna have much of a choice. Oh, it does work. Oh, okay. I misread what you put so hard. Okay, it does work. Good. Fears assuaged. I do think it's a misstep though. Like this, like I can understand releasing at the beginning of the summer. That's when the kids are getting off from school. That's when they're gonna want to buy it. I feel like they probably could have waited another month for this direct. Showed off everything with it in May, and then said that it's going to be a holiday release. Iron out the kinks, fix up, get some more feedback on features that they may or may not want to cut, and then like they could probably have even deleted into the summer, like the direct for this. But then again, I don't know how long they were working on it. Like obviously they feel it's finished enough to show it as a direct. It just feels like they're not pushing it enough. Like it only just released. They're still like Nintendo's Twitter is still just continuously like, hey, did you hear about Donkey Kong Country Returns? Donkey Kong Country Returns HD? Like they're still going on with that. It's like it's ridiculous. So is it another Wii U? Find out, I guess. Nintendo Switch 2 edition of games. This, the 3 game types. Now, this I know has had a lot of confusion about it. Where apparently the 3 types are like full digital download, cartridge. There's really 4 types. There's full digital download. There is partial digital download where it has like a key with like a registration key. And then there's full cartridge. And then there's these Nintendo Switch 2 editions. Always another 3DS, none of the Wii U. Totally agree. Did they not advertise the 3DS that much? I genuinely don't remember. That console is actually really old in comparison to like other ones. Let me see the X controller. Fair enough. So I don't really know how the registration key is going to work with that, but it's got something to do with it. I know that much. I would love to get as many physical copies of things as possible. The only issue is that they always come out with new games that I'm going to want to play day one on Fridays. It pisses me off. It's just like, oh yeah, a new game comes out on a Friday. Okay, well if I want to play it this week, I'm either going to have to make a trip out somewhere to buy it, which I guess I could do, but it's so much more convenient to just get it digital when I could otherwise just make a point of taking a trip in the middle of the week, if it came out in the middle of the week, to go out and buy it then. It just makes more sense to me. I don't know. Now, Nintendo Switch 2 editions. So, for instance, Mario Party Jamboree. So, unless it offers more, I'm not gonna push for us to get this, because I don't think that my dad and Joe are interested in the extra stuff. I'm not really all that interested in the extra stuff. I mean, like, just to kind of zoom through it a little bit. Like, okay, you got Mario Party Jamboree, that's cool. It's getting new minigame types with the mouse feature. Okay, that's neat. We're never gonna do it on the channel because they're gimmicky, and we don't even do the motion controls. Maybe they'd be more okay with it because the Joy-Cons would be bigger, but I don't know. More so the fact that it started out very expensive for the time and what is offered and eventually backtracked and lowered prices permanently. Yes, actually, I do recall that about the 3DS. Another caveat with modern physical games is that you buy the physical game and then they drop a day one patch update or something, so you don't actually have the full game when you buy physical. Yeah, that's also been the way that it's been for such a long time. Like, day one patches really need to get phased out, and games need to ship with a day one patch already done. That being like, it's just done. The bug testing is done. Like, what happened to quality assurance for, like, there shouldn't be these sorts of bugs. The whole camera meeting is going to be great for either of them. No, not at all. We don't really have the room. We don't have the room for filming. And they're not going to have much interest in anything to do with the camera, let alone these mouse minigames. So I don't see us doing this, like, at all. We're probably just going to keep playing Mario Party Jamboree as is, just off the regular Switch. It's the way it is. But got bad knees. That too. I have a hard enough time understanding the instructions of controllers, can't imagine them figuring out like 3 other control mediums. I feel like physical movement they could probably get into the swing of a bit better, because it's not just like, look at the instructions for which button to press. But I digress. So, kind of already hit it, like, oh, the Jamboree TV, like, that's cool, but, like, kind of whatever. Oh, yeah, and this, like, oh, you can see people's reactions, like, first of all, that guy, who's now the green platform all the way over on the side, like, that's literally, at that point, just watch a streamer. Like, people aren't going to want to do this on their own. People have a bad enough time, not a bad enough time, but people already don't like to be perceived in a general sense, unless it's on like a streaming platform thing. They're not going to set up a webcam every time they're going to play a game just so that other people can see their reaction. Oh, no. Oh, you stole my star. Oh, no. They're not going to set it up for that. They're not going to set up voice chat for that. They might set up voice chat for that, but that would be the extent of it. Like it's neat in concept, but that's it. It's neat. It's not a draw, it's not a pull. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Move on. Like, it's there's nothing for it. The benefit could see for this new play just again. Yes, that is like the only exception would be for that exact scenario. Anything past that, I don't see this being useful at all. Be able to communicate easier to have his webcam on stream. And again, that's if he wanted to use it. He might not even wanted to use it. Yeah, we'll bring you in. You want to call in near the end of it? Yeah, sure. That's about it though. I don't feel like being visible, perceived. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's exactly. Like, cool thought. Nobody wants this. Anybody who would want it is definitely not really. They're like absolute minority. Now the roller coaster thing, okay, this doesn't look terrible, but it's also super gimmicky. It at least looks like a couch co-op mode. So like you don't have to be online to play it, unlike every other mode in Mario Party Jamboree. So, like, that one, like, this might see a little bit of use. At that point, just use a regular webcam in Discord. Exactly, that's kind of the thing. Nintendo canceled this DLC and ported over the Mario 64 DS and Super Mario Bros. Minigames. Oh, that'd be kind of neat. Oh, and then there's this. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Nintendo Switch 2 edition. As a Zelda fan post Breath of the Wild, this is just not good. So, ultimately, all that the Nintendo Switch 2 edition brings is higher performance, which is good, don't get me wrong, and an app with the GPS in it, daily quests. Like, let's let this go for a little bit, because yeah, the Nintendo Switch app, Zelda Notes, yeah, cool. I want to use my phone for another thing, and like both of them have their own things for this. Auto build sharing in Tears of the Kingdom, okay, that's kind of convenient. That's kind of cool. That's fine. Play data, interesting to see. I don't really need to. The voice memories, they're adding new lore and they're locking it behind a stupid app. I'm kind of mad about that. I like lore. Daily bonus. What? What do you mean, daily bonus? We don't need daily quests in my Zelda games. It's bad enough that they had that with the amiibo functionality in Hyrule Warriors. Global play data. Have that on your website. I don't need an app and I don't care enough to look. The navigation. Okay, that was interesting. But that should have been a feature back when the game released back in 2017. Love this is essentially the iPhone app from GTA 5 or Zelda. Is it really? That's hilarious. They still create new Zelda games. I hope they do. Tears of the Kingdom is technically new, but it's not new enough. I'm really hoping that whatever Zelda they come up with next is more of a return to form. But I still have this incredibly nagging feeling that it's going to be a trilogy. We're going to get one more Breath of the Wild style game before they move on to a more traditional Zelda. And I hate that I feel this way, but I do. Yeah, no new mainline games yet. They did say they're dropping the open world formula. Oh, good. Like, it's not that Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom were bad. It's just that they both should have been one game. I've talked about this ad nauseum. Voice GPS to find Koroks. Okay, but we don't need that. And, you know, it's convenient to have a map without needing to constantly keep opening the menu. That much is fine. That much is actually really convenient. The auto-build feature for Tears of the Kingdom, also pretty convenient. And, like, hey, that's some buttery smooth frame rate right there. I'm a little disappointed, though, because if they added more content for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, like, that's what they need to do. Like, Mario Party Jamboree, extra content. It's just not very well thought out content. But if it was like two or three new boards and like 30 to 50 new mini games, wow, that is actually a huge incentive to get the upgrade pack alongside this other stuff. Like, okay, I'd spend like 20 to 30 bucks on that to get that upgrade pack, because that's basically like another half of the game. Wouldn't mind other open worlds as long as it's not in Hyrule. Yes. It could be not in Hyrule. It could be in Hyrule that's just not Breath of the Wild Hyrule. Change how the place looks. I beg you, Nintendo. Like a Termina Breath of the Wild style would be great. Yeah, honestly, I'd be down for a Termina open world thing. I'd be down for it. Like, I'm not saying the open world formula should never be used again. I just don't want that particular Hyrule again. I don't want Breath of the Wild 3. Now this is a case where, like, Kirby the Forgotten Land, fun game. Starcross World, I don't know exactly everything that's going on with it. It's a meteorite, and it's affecting everything. I mean, game still looks great. The fact that that meteor is a heart shape is not lost on me. Going back to Star Allies, like this looks like this has a bunch of new extra content. Basically, a new game plus with some extra new features, as you can see by the bouncing Kirby. This adds like a whole new thing to the game. This is incentive for getting an upgrade. This is what needed to happen with Zelda and Tears of the Kingdom. I understand they're huge games already. What more could you add without just bloating it? I get that. But this is how you do it. Jamboree, that's kind of how you do it. This one for you is like a wait for more info. Yes, but of all of the Switch 2 upgrade games, this is the one that has my attention the most. It's very pretty. And like, I'm wondering what else is there, because it felt like there was something kind of missing in Kirby in the Forgotten Land, but I couldn't quite place what. This might fill that niche. So yeah, there's really not much more to add about that. Oh, Metroid Prime 4. This right here, huge deal. Honestly, that could make the game so much fun. Like, all right, having it just be dual stick control is great. Mouse, essentially having a hybrid controller and mouse and keyboard, that could, like, I've always wondered how that could work, and this could be a good example of like how it might be able to work really well. I'm hyped for this game. Sword motion controls the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. No, we had Skyward Sword already. We don't really need it again. Thanks, but no. But this, I'm pretty hyped for Metroid Prime 4. I don't know if I'll actually get to Prime 2 and 3 before getting to this, just to check them out. I know Prime 2 is apparently really good, and Prime 3 is mixed. I'd still like to catch up before actually getting to Prime 4, but I will try Prime 4 out before the other two if it winds up getting it that way. I am very curious about mouse control, the hybrid control for a Metroid game. Hey, Buff. Hope they return to form with Zelda, like you said, especially with the temple design. Yes, that is also a huge deal. Like, I still have it that Twilight Princess has the best dungeon designs, Skyward Sword being a very close second, and only with some of them. Wind Waker, also really good, but kind of below that. Ocarina of Time, Majora's... Like, it kind of goes, like, in order backwards. Except Twilight Princess I would put ahead of Skyward Sword. And they kind of got a little bit of it back with Tears of the Kingdom, but they weren't quite there with it, and there's only 4 dungeons anyway. They could do better, but they're kind of got back to form a little bit. I'm hoping that they make some really, really good dungeon designs for the next Zelda game. The new mouse movement makes you feel like there's going to be a major fault that wears any Joy-Cons and/or the surface you use the mouse on. I can understand you saying that. Never really thought about it that way, and now you've kind of made me a little worried, because, like, yeah, like, how does it glide? Like, can you glide on any surface? Are you going to wear it down really fast? Are you going to accidentally magnetize it if your table happens to have metal in it? You know, important questions. But it's not necessary to play it that way. You can do dual stick controls, which dual stick controls in Metroid Prime Remaster felt really, really good. So, here's hoping. And hey, the fact that they're boasting 4K 60 FPS HDR, like when docked, that is a very big boast. And like, it looks like that footage is rendered in engine, like on hardware. It's hard to tell. But if it is, that's gonna be crazy. Like, to have that big of an upgrade from what the Switch was, that's a huge upgrade. You and I accidentally used my Joy-Cons and mouse on my table full of floppy disks. Oh no. I can't believe it. You ruined all 256 megabytes of your entire table. How are you gonna recover? That's too much data lost. Pokemon Legends ZA. If you like Pokemon, okay. I haven't played a Pokemon game proper since Moon. I never finished Moon. I played X and Y. I had Y. It was fun. I have no desire to play this game. Here's hoping that people out there who like Pokemon do enjoy it. It looks like it's a step up from mainline Pokemon games. But, like, come on, Game Freak. Get it together. But I'm sure we've all heard critiques of Game Freak being so bad. Between Scarlet and Violet, Sword and Shield. And then there's people who will buy it anyway because it's Pokemon. You can't do anything about it. It's whatever. Let's make a Nintendo-ified keyboard with a mouse. I'd be kind of surprised if they didn't. But that might have to wait until, like, Switch 2 Pro, if they ever do make that, considering this is basically the Switch Pro. Can't confirm this, as you don't have a source to look into it, but your friend said last night the battery life for the Switch 2 on 720, 120 FPS is a battery life of, like, 2 hours. Given that the original Nintendo Switch has a battery life of, like, 4 hours? 2 hours is really not that bad. Like, it's not as much as the previous Switch. But the fact that they still managed to squeeze 2 hours out of that of, like, continuous play, and that's guaranteed to be a lot less for the less demanding games, kind of a big deal. Switches look like it's gonna flop. Again, we'll talk a bit more, because I have a very good point for that, but that's not until later. This is Switch 2 Edition stuff. We're really only about halfway through the Direct. I am kind of... Oh, here it is. Here it is. Hold on. I want to bring something up. Hold on. I'm gonna mute this real quick just so that I can check and see exactly what it is. Or did this turn off on its own? I think it might turn off. No, it didn't. Huh? It must have. There's no reason for that to have not turned off. I just want to make sure. Hold on. Okay, okay. Hold on. There's a reason I'm playing this. I hate how well it fits. That's so good. That is so good. I did not intend for that to like sync up perfectly with the actions. All right. Anyway, I don't think much more needs to be said about Paraplegic League, Wheelchair League, whatever you want to call it. Ooh. I mean, I get it. It's a tech demo. Surely they could have thought of something else to better use as the tech demo for the dual mouse control than wheelchair basketball. Oh my god. That's only mostly not true. Some games, I don't know how many, but games will still come as physical copies, not just the like digital download key. That's been like the weird kind of, not misinformation, but improper information that's been going around. Oh my god. I don't think any more even needs to be said about it. Alright, Elden Ring on Switch 2. Huge if it works well. I'm skeptical, because I mean Elden Ring kind of has some of its moments, even on pretty good PCs. The fact that they're slapping it onto a Switch 2, it could be a good thing if it works. It could be a bad thing if it doesn't. Ever gonna play RuneScape again? Probably. I don't know when. Leagues burn me out real bad. But it's definitely not out of the question. The build is supposedly only like 6 weeks old. Alright, I mean, that's not terrible. And we've seen Elden Ring. I have to wonder what's going to be in Tarnished Edition besides White Horse. I don't think they're even going to show it. Hades 2, looking forward to it. I really liked Hades 1. I haven't really kept up much of the development of it. That's going to be pretty good. Capcom. Oh, Street Fighter! Okay. I mean, it's Street Fighter. I'm not a big fan of... Not that I'm a huge fan... Nah, I'm just not a huge fan of fighting games. Smash is like the only one. Let's do content for Risking out soon. Yeah, I saw a little bit of the beta for Sailing. One of my friends got in on the beta, and I got to see that, so I might come back when that goes up. Maybe. You're getting the Switch too? Good luck. Yeah. Street Fighter 6. If you like fighting games, then here's another platform for it. Go nuts. I don't know. What was this game again? Not Split Fiction. Arsenal. It looked alright. Like, it looks like mech genre. Mechs are cool. What more can you say? Hopefully it runs well. Daemon X Machina. Titanic Scion. That's right. You can pet the little dog fella. Daemon X Machina, yeah. Love to see my dad and Joe play Tekken against each other. Oh boy. Split Fiction. I've seen a decent amount of this game. It looks like a pretty good game. I mean, it's made by the It Takes Two guys. They won Game of the Year. Of course, they're going to kind of know what they're doing, and the game looked pretty good. I don't have a second person to play it with. Shrug. Maybe that'll change. Hopefully sooner rather than later. Anyway. Sports ball games. I hate that this is going to wind up being like one of the most sold games like ever. Just because it's a sports game. Sports games. Yeah, I mean, I probably could. He'd probably be down for it, but we'll see. We'll see. Sports ball. Hogwarts Legacy, I guess kind of a big deal that's showing up because there was plenty to this game. The one thing that like bugs me about Harry Potter is that like the fantastical creatures aspect looks really cool, but there's like no focus on it in the series. It's all about like the school drama and it's all just that. It's like, I don't care about this. I want to learn more about like whatever the heck this thing is. I want to learn more about Bird Horse. Actually looks interesting. No spin-off films. Yeah, I know. But I'm also just not interested enough in the setting. Because the rest of the content for it is so, like, not enticing. That's kind of leaning into the Harry Potter lore. Yeah. First two are the best. I've said this before. I have seen, I think, a decent amount of, like, I think I've seen a decent amount of the first and the second movie. I think I've seen all the first. I don't remember much of it. A decent amount of the second. A chunk of Half-Blood Prince. And the entirety of the very last movie, which was shown shortly after it released back when I was in high school as like a senior day sort of thing. We all went to the auditorium and watched it instead of going to class. Like, classes were canceled for us for that day. Like, really late in the summer. So we all watched it. I'm just sitting there watching it, just like, I know who some of these characters are. I have no idea what's going on right now. But hey, it's a movie and I don't have to go to class. That's fine. But yeah, we're not here to talk about Harry Potter. We're here to talk about Switch 2 and all that. Skateboard games. I understand their appeal in a, like, theoretical sense. I never really played a skateboard game. So, shrug. Cool. Hopefully those who enjoy those sorts of games will enjoy it. Hitman. Okay. It's Hitman. 007. I don't know when the last time a James Bond game was released. So this could be really cool, but I don't know. Honestly, I've only seen a playthrough of GoldenEye. And a little bit of, what was the one on GameCube? I don't remember that one. So, fun fact, I've also actually never seen a James Bond movie. I probably should, just because I know that they're, held in good acclaim. I just haven't yet. As a fan of the Tony Hawk series, not interested in the remakes. Fair enough. Agent Under Fire. That sounds right, because I think it began with an A. So I think you're right. Anyway, Bravely. It's funny because the one person I did watch their reaction to the direct saw this and was like, Final Fantasy 9, yes! No, wait, that's not Final Fantasy 9. Like, they were so hyped, and then just, like, it instantly died. I've heard that for a JRPG, Bravely Default and whatever other Bravely one there is are pretty good. I'm picky with JRPGs. Yakuza. I don't... Maybe it's just me. I don't fully understand how this series is so popular. I get it. It's, like, over the top. Like, it's got a lot of over the top action and, like, weird things happen. But, like, it feels like this somehow became, like, a very sacred series. And I don't know when that happened. Part of me feels like it happened with the... When, what's his name, became Dame Dane guy? Dame Dane, Dame-o, Dame, Dame-o. I did Default and Bravely second. Yeah, that was it. So I don't know if I'll ever try out a Yakuza game. It looks like it might be neat, but I don't know. Kiryu, yeah. Not crazy about Yakuza, but I heard the fifth one's the best. Is that the Like a Dragon one, or is that this one? I don't, like I said, I don't know. I'm just not familiar with the series enough. And it's just, like, almost strange to me to see, like, all these, like, heaped praises on this series. But, okay, here is... Here's this one. Hyrule Warriors... Age of Buffering. Oh, there we go. Age of Imprisonment. Um, Age of Calamity was good. I know they're not showing anywhere near half of what the plot's going to wind up being of Age of Imprisonment, because, see, everybody assumed that Age of Calamity was going to be a... Well, not everybody assumed, but it, like, gave the impression that it was supposed to be an accurate retelling of Age of Calamity. So it's like, oh, are we actually going to get to see Mifa, Daruk, uh, Garuda Woman, and Ronaldo, the Rito? I don't remember their names. I feel so bad. I'm a fan of the series. Like, are we gonna see them die on screen? Like, is Nintendo actually like having some balls with this? No, more time travel mechanics. I fail to see how they could do this game without more time travel mechanics to just like save the day at the last second. You know, to prevent Sonya from dying, considering that's canon. Just go Yakuza 5? Okay. Presenting the goofiness is too heavily leading into just one good Japanese crime game. I guess it's fair. Anyway, Age of Imprisonment. I had fun with the last one. I had a lot of fun with the first Hyrule Warriors that came out for Wii U. That was a lot of fun. And because it had so many of the like extra modes, unfortunately I kind of boiled it down too much, so I learned too well. It's like, okay, so these are the best ad clears, and you want to just do like 1, 2, 3 combos against the bosses so that they just get stun locked. And then you can't do anything. And then like the major bosses is just, okay, use the gimmick item to kill them. They do a polarizing spinoff? I can understand that as well. Age of Calamity because of how they handled it. Not to mention how it ran. Because it definitely had quite a few problems hardware-wise with Age of Calamity. Age of Imprisonment, assuming they keep the scale, should work a lot better. But as far as I know, Tears of the Kingdom is also a little divisive. So the fact that they actually went through with the Hyrule Warriors for it, I'm a little surprised. Like, if you like hack and slashes, this is huge for you, but if you're not super into it, you can't really see a lot of people getting into it. Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it as well. Like I said, the first Hyrule Warriors on Wii U, even if you're not a huge fan of hack and slash, like, yeah, okay, it's still hack and slash. But that was a good game to sort of get onboarded with it. Age of Calamity, not really, and that was also very story-focused, which was kind of odd, if you ask me. Just because, like, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are very not story-focused at all. So, theoretically, this will be pretty good. I don't know. Overall. Oh, yep, okay. This was the big deal. Because people have been clamoring for this for the Switch itself. And the fact that they never put it on, but they are, like, advertising this front and center for the Switch 2. Okay. That's pretty good. This means that there's games that are going to finally be out and available that we haven't seen in, at this point, 20 years. You put this on your bingo sheet, 100% not expecting it to show up. That's fair. You joke about your friends like, look, it'll be GameCube Online. Honestly, like, GameCube Online would be fantastic. I don't expect something like Melee. I really don't expect Smash Melee to be on it. I mean, I don't think they put Smash Bros. On their own emulator. But then again, Nintendo 64 is a really weird fugue state because of how paper clips and duct tape it was. I wouldn't say that. Paper clips and masking tape. Because it was so much of that, it's hard for even their own in-house emulators to work it. Let alone anybody trying outside of that, which, you know, you shouldn't do it, but, you know. But GameCube stuff works really good. And netplay is very much a thing. So, online GameCube games, being able to play, like, Mario Party 4 through 7 online without needing to, like, do a weird thing or have a whole lot of latency, that could be really good. GameCube controller. This right here. I mean, technically, I would say that specifically the Wavebird GameCube controller, just because like it had the right amount of weight, it felt pretty sturdy, and it was wireless. It was a wireless controller. Just amazing. Amazing. I forget, did it like... Oh yeah, Wind Waker... Okay, if you missed out Wind Waker HD for the Wii U, then, you know, this is a good one. Sunshine I wouldn't expect for a while, just because, you know, 3D All-Stars kind of took that. I think one friend brought up a really good point. They're hoping it's going to be a download the ones you want kind of thing. Because if this library fills up and it downloads all of them, and each is like a gig each, yeah, I get the feeling it's probably going to be that way. Considering, like, up to 64, they were very manageable. This is the part, like, this is the time where, like, I think the GameCube games were still in the realm of megabytes. I don't think they really went to gigabytes yet. But the GameCube had a pretty decent library, and that's going to add up. So it's probably download what you want. Your controller is the Xbox One controller, just feels perfect in your hands. I don't hate you for it. It's a perfectly valid thing. I mean, I will admit that my preference for the GameCube controller is probably mostly nostalgia. But there's nothing wrong with the Xbox controller. Obviously, they've had the same controller since the first Xbox. Well, after they got rid of the thick Duke. It is a very ergonomic controller. It is very good. Like I said, nostalgia. Anyway, Soul Calibur 2. I never played any of the Soul Caliburs. I know that there's the one really thick girl with the whip sword, and Link was in this one. And that's kind of about it. And there are other attractive girls in it. That's about it. F-Zero. The fact that they're including this as like a direct thing makes me think that they're probably just not going to do anything for F-Zero again after this. It's another game series I just never really got into that looks cool, but I just never had the games, so I never got a chance to try them out. But I've heard that F-Zero GX is good, so maybe that will get a chance. Cause yeah, it's like they're just announcing those, right? And yeah, the fact you can like rebind controls, that's pretty cool. Oh, Chibi Robo's good. Super Mario Strikers, that's pretty good. Pokemon XD, never really got very far in it. Pokemon Coliseum, that one I did get like almost. Actually, I never fully beat Pokemon Coliseum because I accidentally used the Master Ball against a Shadow Pokemon that wasn't the legendary. Because I didn't think they were gonna put a legendary in Pokemon Coliseum, and then they did it, and I was just like, "Are you joking?" Luigi's Mansion. That'll be cool. F-Zero to get into someday. Captain Falcon forever stuck in purgatory. Yeah. At least he made enough of a meme out of himself in Smash Bros. To become a mainstay. If he didn't have Falcon Punch, he would probably be on the side of the road and the Blue Falcon would just be an old beater. We really need official Jazz album on their games. Oh, that's neat. PS5 controller is good, just don't like PlayStation stick placement. That's my complaint with it. Like, I'm sure that the PS5 controller is good. I don't like the stick placement. I like this. This, I think, is good. Both of the sticks being at the front, I get used to it, but I don't like it. Let the Nintendo drop like 4 of the most expensive aftermarket GameCube games. Wind Waker's expensive? I guess I could believe it. Can't wait for the next Resident Evil. I gotta wonder what they'll do for it. Resident Evil 9. Certainly. I wonder if it'll be a Switch 2 exclusive. Oh yeah, and of course, they have to shoehorn in their stupid little C button. Because, you know, they gotta play Find the C button. I don't know, maybe it's, maybe they're trying to tell gamers something. You know, find the C button. Make sure to press it all the time, as many times as you can. Don't stop pressing that C button until you get the results you want. Now, granted, a wireless GameCube controller like that for the first time since the Wavebird, that's pretty good. I'm gonna have some strong temptation to resist this. Maybe like a Christmas gift. Coliseum, XD, Fire Emblem, one of the other ones, but that was in there. Fair enough. Fair enough indeed. Chibi Robo. Is Chibi Robo actually valuable? Because it's so funny, because Chibi Robo is such a, like... It's a peculiar little game. It's nice. Oh, here we go. But, hey, don't go backwards. I didn't say go backwards. This funny little guy. Deltarune, like, the absolute unexpected, like... Toby Fox is an absolute mad lad. And he's amazing for it. I mean, to give no indication on the progress of Chapter 3 and 4, only to shadow drop it on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. Wow! This guy is, like, probably the biggest pull in indie games, like, out of any indie game developer that's not, like, a whole studio. This guy's crazy. What the cost like control is going to be? Not less than 80. Like, I guarantee... I could even see that controller pushing 100, because they know the sort of people who are going to buy it. And I hate it. Next Fallout and Elder Scrolls is coming out, like, now. Have they even said anything about Fallout? Elder Scrolls, I know that they've announced, and that's it for the past, like, 6 years. Bethesda. That's all I can say about it. But no, I'm looking forward to Chapters 3 and 4, but I'm probably gonna play them on PC. Like, it's cool that they're coming out as Switch launch titles, but I'm gonna play them on PC. It's gonna be hard to not spoil myself on that sort of stuff before I get around to playing it, especially considering the time that it's happening. Oh my god, I'm gonna want to start Pikmin 2 around then. I have to do that, then do Deltarune, and then do Mario Sunshine. Bruh. But yeah, Deltarune. I had a lot of fun playing that. Ha 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 ha. Point and laugh. Ha ha. This guy, Randy Bitch. More like Randy Bitch. Literally, who cares? Does anybody actually care about Borderlands 4? Like, genuine question, does anybody really care? I know it's gonna have its fans. Borderlands 1 was pretty fun. Borderlands 2 I never beat, because I just got bored of it by the end of it. Never played Borderlands 3, never played the pre-sequel. I have no intention of getting Borderlands 4. Fell off after 2 in the pre-sequel. Fair enough. I mean, never played one. Yeah, fair. I can't necessarily knock you for that. I have no desire for this. Civ 7. Okay. Which is interesting because, like, strategy games are so incredibly niche now. I mean, like, the RTS genre has 2 feet in the grave. It's a shame because I love it in theory. I'm really bad at RTS games just because I'm not good at, like, countering on the fly. And not to mention, after StarCraft 2, it was just like, oh, here's like the 3 metas, one for each of the races. If you don't do this, you might as well just resign. It's just like, I don't want to do this. I want an RTS where you have to like make big armies, not just like, okay, here here's the Zerg rush, here's the 4 Zerglings at minute 5. Here's a squad of 20 Marines. Like, the campaigns, like, against AI campaigns for RTSs are fun. PvP RTSs are not fun. No, thanks for sticking around. Waiting for Outer Worlds 2. That'd be pretty good. Outer Worlds 1 was pretty good. Civ 7 is cool to drop on Switch 2, but Civ 7 plays so slow. That's just Civilization games. I could go on more about RTSs, but um, oh yeah, brother, wrestling. Let's go. Lord of the Flies, G-rated. What's this one? Oh, Enter the Gungeon 2. This I'm looking forward. Like, I will probably want to get this on PC. But Enter the Gungeon 2, I really like Enter the Gungeon 1. Roguelites are a weird thing for me to want to stream because, like, I've played Isaac a lot. I don't think I want to keep playing Isaac on stream. And I'm certainly not going to do another 100% run. I 100% at Isaac. I'm not doing that again. They have a weird stream freeze during this section of the stream live. I didn't get to actually see it live. I saw it after the fact, so I didn't wake up until after it was done. Stephanie, we're still in gym. Nuclear Thermal would be a good stream game. You know, you're not wrong. I'll keep that in mind. Nuclear Throne. I don't have it, but I've not played it. I don't see why not. I did hear about the stream freeze. And this little guy, like, I don't. This is the Astroneer game, right? I love that little carrot fella. Yeah, this is the Astroneer game. Like, look at him. How do you not love that? How do you not look at that and it's just like, yes. I want to have this thing as just like a plushie about like this tall so that I can like stand it up somewhere and every now and then just fling it against the wall, hear that satisfying thump, set it back up, pat it on the head, and then just go about my day. It looks perfect for that exact purpose. Not super crazy about Gungeon 2. Fair enough. Like they're definitely going with a style for it, and the style looks neat. 3D Star kind of puts you off. That's fair. That's totally fair. I never played the first Astroneer, so like this game looks very whimsical. Probably a lot of fun with friends. Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is going to be very interesting given how in-depth it's going to need hardware. So will it just be like day one Cyberpunk again, or is it actually going to work? We're going to find out. Kind of the same with Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm totally not surprised it's showing up on Switch 2, though. Cyberpunk has a 6-week build. I don't right. Okay. I mean, for 6 weeks of it being worked on, that doesn't look that terrible, so I guess we'll find out. Final Fantasy VII, like I said, it's pretty good. Oh yeah, this was the sizzle reel. After Final Fantasy. It shows all the games that they've demonstrated thus far. Kunitsugami, it seems interesting. Silk Song relegated to sizzle reel says this year. They've already tried that. I want Silk Song to come out. I'm gonna need to play Hollow Knight to manifest this game coming out, I guess, because it's just not gonna happen otherwise. Like, oh my god, how long have they been working on this stupid... This is supposed to be a DLC for Hollow Knight. Seeing Silk Song was surprising, but still no release date outside of 2025, which makes me think that it's probably not happening this year. It probably will be delayed. I agree with you. I wish I wasn't agreeing with you. I'm hungry. We're most of the way through this. There's only 10 minutes left of the direct. So there's Silk Song, then Bebby, but with powers. 2-Point Museum. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. Wild Hearts. We have Monster Hunter Wilds at home. New cozy Chucklefish game. Puyo Puyo. I never played a Puyo Puyo game. I played the Sonic Puyo Puyo, which is like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which I think was on the Sonic Adventure DX disc. I'm not a huge fan of the Fallen Houses games, but they're neat. Rune Factory, okay. Marvel Cosmic Invasion. and, and literally what game? I get the feeling that they paid for that particular thing. Nobunga's Ambition. Okay. Fast Fusion, F-Zero Light. Not Light. The F-Zero at home. The weird Pac-Man Metroidvania that I'm actually kind of interested in. Mystery game, Somnium Files. Scary Pac-Man, yeah. Reanimal, which just looks like Little Nightmares. Fortnite! Oh, fork knife! Oh, let's go! And of course that's going to be a launch title with it. Ridge Racer, a new Professor Layton. Honestly, Professor Layton might be fun as just like a puzzle game. Yeah, I don't know. Hello Kitty Island Adventure, Human Fall Flat, looks neat. Like, none of these games are particular selling points, but a lot of them don't look bad. New Layton, you need it. You can't get over this guy's jacket. Like, ever since you, like, I didn't think twice about it, even over the both times I saw this, but, like, looking at it now, it's just like, huh? And then we get to here, Duskbloods. So we're gonna skip through it until the one particular shot. You know which one I'm talking about. I think I passed it. I totally passed it. Nope. Close enough. Welcome back, Emil from Nier. Welcome to not Bloodborne 2, but the developers of Bloodborne. Yeah, really. So what's next? Is Xbox gonna have Bloodborne 3? Because you figured Sony got Bloodborne 1. Bloodborne 2 is a Nintendo exclusive. But the fact that it's an exclusive is what kind of blows my mind. It's like, what do you mean FromSoft? Like, the fact that FromSoft has a deal with Nintendo to make an exclusive, that kind of says something. Like, FromSoft has confidence in Nintendo. That's interesting. That is very interesting. Look at these graphics. Grew up with first-gen Game Boy. Neanderthal graphics compared to this. I agree. I like this. This is a stellar shot. You know, celestial body aside. Majora's Mask, but it really is, isn't it? It's like just this. And send this picture back to 2005 and tell them this is what Majora's Mask remake is going to look like in 10 years. This is a timed exclusive, especially after the Direct's general reception. I can see that. But then again, Nintendo might like really sink their claws into this. Because like, hey, this could be their Bloodborne. The only thing that I'm not terribly happy with is that apparently it's an 8v, like an 8v8v environment thing. And like, I've never liked Souls PvP because it's all either just sweats, bad netcode, or I'm trying to do a themed build and not min-max. Hey, welcome. I should make it the background around Halloween time. Yeah, you know what? Why not? I'm sure I can find a good screenshot of this. Although just having the dude floating there is a bit weird. I kind of want to have just the floating dude. Alter to make the eyes and mouth glow like a pumpkin. Honestly, if you do that, send it to me on Twitter. I will 100% use it come Halloween. But hello, welcome to the stream. I am discussing the Switch 2 Direct. I've been doing so for the past 2 hours now. Giving my thoughts on it. I have a lot to say, apparently. But yeah, Dustblood. It looks neat. The fact that it's like kind of cyberpunk and that there's a jetpack is really funny, but also kind of like, okay, let's see. Like, I don't think FromSoft has failed in regards of any games that I've played from them. Dark Souls 2, I think, was the closest thing to failure, and even then, it's still not that terrible. It's got some issues, but it's not. It's not a disappointment. Depending on how this game mode is, this could be a disappointment. But if it's pumped for WWE 2K coming over Switch, hey, it's fine. I'm not a big wrestling guy myself, but wrestling is funny when it's like a meme, and I respect them for what they do. I've just never really watched it. I don't know. Maybe I would like it if I like kind of got into their plot lines. Discord for this stream? I said Twitter, not Discord. Oh, that's... Didn't read that other chat message. Anyway. I'm very... This game is a case of I want to learn more before I really make a judgment. It looks neat. And it's definitely got visual style. But I need to know more before I really make a, like, final judgment on, like, how I'm gonna think of it. But it looks neat. It has ever been much of a WoW player. Actually, no. I wanted to get into WoW, but actually my parents wouldn't let me because of the paid subscription. Which, looking back on it now, totally understand. At the time, I was disappointed, but maybe it's for the best that I didn't. I mean, I still go back to old school RuneScape sometimes. So get into wrestling like I am into gaming. Don't get it to each their own. Fair enough. Not sure we're gonna get the Switch 2 anytime soon. Fair enough. Anyway, moving along. 2026. Creator's Voice, whatever that is. Oh, yes, then there's this. As soon as... So, like, we're gonna go through this. So when that happened, and like this is like, okay, this feels like Smash Bros. Like, very Sakurai. And that is how it's like, okay, even though it's gray and falling like this, I know that's the Warp Star. So is this a Smash thing? Are they coming with another new Kirby? Okay, definitely Kirby. Like, him trying to activate it? Like, when he... Like, at this point, I was like, no. No, there's no way. There's no way that that's what this is. This is gonna be like some other new Kirby game. No, it is. It's... If an engine pops up, if a thruster comes up, yes! Like, this was the most hype point of the entire night. Smash always gets revealed Kirby at Sakurai's baby. Yeah. But, like, there was also that, like, little thing of just, like, is this Kirby Air Ride? Is Air Ride getting a remaster? Are we getting a new Air Ride? Like, what's going on here? What's happening? Tell us. And then it shows the machines, the Wagon Star, the Glider Star, the Wheelie Bike, and it was just like, ooh, it's Kirby Air Ride. Legit the biggest, like do you know what this means? I loved Kirby Air Ride, the first one. The first one was fantastic. I loved it. It was amazing. This means that we're going to get potentially an expanded city trial mode. City trial, but better. I have trust in Sakurai. Sakurai, I feel, is one of those directors who doesn't really disappoint. I hope that my faith is not led astray. But I have a lot of nostalgia for Kirby Air Ride. I have kicked around the idea of doing a stream of it, just filling out all the checklist boxes. It's unfortunate, like, Kirby Air Ride did a racing game so good, because unlike Mario Kart, where it's just like, okay, go for the gold, it has a bunch of objectives. It's literally an achievement hunter's paradise, because there's 120 per mode, and okay, Top Ride wasn't that great. We can put Top Ride aside. The regular Air Ride races, they were fun. City Trial was, like, the best thing. Well, the one where they base Smash Run off of. That might be City Trial. In terms of like the stat upgrades, that was City Trial, yeah. For your brother being in a WoW back in the dial-up days. Really? World of Warcraft overlapped with dial-up? Wow. I just didn't know that. But no, like, of every, like, there's one other game, and it's the only one that hasn't been showed, that I am actually hyped for the Switch 2 so far. I mean, like, I imagine it's going to be another 3-mode thing. It's probably going to be regular air ride races. There's no way they're not going to do a city trial mode. And they're probably going to be another mode. If Sakurai's feeling, like, really into it, maybe even 4 modes. I'm not holding out on that. But there's no way they're not going to have city trial. And I am absolutely here for city trial 2. Oh, man, I hope so. I hope so. Hope that this game turns out good. I mean, they brought Sakurai back for it. Because I thought that he was, like, I know it was a hiatus from Smash specifically, but, like, that's still, like, such a big deal. I hope this game does good. I hope this game sells really well. But I'm really nervous about it because Mario Kart. You've already got the Mario Kart Racer. Mario Kart's the big one. He doesn't push himself like he has in the past. That poor man in the IV. Yeah. I don't see him pushing himself in, like, Smash Ultimate felt like that was, like, his magnum opus, essentially. I can see him dialing it back, the intensity on this, but I still feel like he's going to put a lot into it. Plus, the culture's just like that, as far as I know. I don't know if I call him my friend, but it is a goofy jacket. Now this. See that blue guy? That blue guy down the corner? That is extremely rarer coded. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, wait a minute. What are they planning with this? This is either a new 3D Mario, but there's a low chance of that. The eyes don't mesh right. That means that this is either going to be a Donkey Kong game, or somehow they got the rights to Banjo-Kazooie back. Blue Jelly Rancher. Smash is done, it's perfected. It's definitely going to get like a Switch 2 release. I just realized something. Nintendo could put Smash Run or like some other old modes, or like break the target. Like they have the opportunity to add in more content to Smash Ultimate for the updated version. That would be dope. You know, add in, like, they don't need to add in more characters. Maybe, like, okay, maybe add in one extra character. I don't know. They kind of capped it off really well with Kingdom Hearts guy, Sora. But add in more modes. Break the targets. Smash Run. I'm sure there's others that I'm just not thinking of that would be really, really cool. Add in a bunch of extra game modes. Oh boy, people are gonna love that. Subspace Emissary 2. That weird level of cutscene perfectionism and not... The thing that we talked about earlier about whoever brought it up, that the, like, don't want to give this stuff away for free and thus got butthurt about the cutscenes being uploaded to, like, YouTube. Because that was a new thing at the time. Like, nowadays, you expect it. Back then, you don't expect it. And Brawl came out, what, 2008? And that feels like a thing they're going to stick to their guns about. And Crash Bandicoot deserves to be in Smash? No, I can see it. He's a big deal. He was even on Nintendo consoles. Colors weave into a spiral mountain in space. It was a Kid Icarus Uprising sequel. Well, hold on. Let Sakurai make Air Ride first, then he can get to work on that. I never played Uprising. I've heard it's good, but you also had to like do claw motion to play it or something. Maybe a cardboard cutout of Big Jacket Guy for Christmas. that that'd be a good meme. I don't know what I would do with it. Oh, that game was spicy. Fair enough. I think I have seen a playthrough of it. But anyway, so this is the first. Once I got here and it said Ingot Isle, I was like, yeah, no, this is Donkey Kong. This is 100% a new Donkey Kong game. But wait, it's 3D. What? And then I broke through, and I'm not gonna lie, I was really hoping that it was gonna be Rare style, and then it came into view, and it was the new design, which I'm not entirely sold on redesigned Donkey Kong. Here's the thing. Donkey Kong has been relatively unchanged for when did Donkey Kong Country 1 come out? Like 1993 maybe? Hold on, I can look this up real quick. DKC 1 release. No, what? Why did it... No, don't autofill. DKC 1 release date. 1994. Wow, that's a lot later than I thought. 94. Wow. Oh, I thought 91. 94. So, 31 years Donkey Kong has been relatively unchanged in terms of his visual design. And I understand they're making more in line with the original design for Donkey Kong. But, this is not the same Kong as DK64 Kong, which was the last 3D Donkey Kong game we had. It's different. You get skin of original looking DK. I mean, yeah, it looks kind of close, but it's... Like I said, I don't hate it. But I feel like if they're going to do this redesign, they should have done it back on the GameCube or the Wii. Like literally, Donkey Kong in... I'm trying to think of the last game that he was in. Probably a Mario Party. Like, he looked like Rare Donkey... Well, no. Tropical Freeze, 2014. 11 years ago. He still has the Rare look. Or I guess it's now the Retro Studios. Maybe the retro platformers will still look like that Donkey Kong, and this is just for Donkey Kong's other games. So, I don't know. They're gonna peel a bruised banana with it. It just... I fully acknowledge that this is more resistance to change than it is the design has flaws. I don't think the design has flaws at all. I think it's well, I mean, I'm sure there's flaws somewhere, but I don't think it's a bad design. I'll say it that way. I don't think that this is a bad design at all. It's a good design. It's still Donkey Kong. You recognize him. Even without the tie, you could still tell that it's Donkey Kong. It just looks more like he did back in the 80s. Which is fine. It's just different, is the thing. It's different. This is 80s DK. It's just a slightly redesigned 80s DK. It's almost a heavy... Like, in this particular shot, he looks very close. It's when he doesn't have the... Like, Donkey Kong always has the, like, furrowed brow, kind of angry eyebrows. He's always been, like, serious. But I'm also okay with him having a lot more expression. He's a lot more subtle in the retro games. Now, we'll get to this part in a second. Right now, actually. Like, okay, we're done with Donkey Kong's design. Over is a rare style Donkey Kong to stay for the country style games everywhere else until they down for 3 design. Yes, you have phrased that in one sentence that I've been trying to express. I'm fine with this design, it can stay, but if it's a 2D platformer, please let it be the retro rare design. The PC Gamer made it because I don't really care that much for this, but people really overreact too much. It's a spectrum. I think people aren't reacting enough to Pokemon having N64 style textures and graphics. Like, they could do better. Come on, they could do better. People don't react enough to it. Small screen looks like a Nomad Sky screenshot. It kind of does. I totally agree with that. It's very interesting. Also, note that the grass is in tufts of like 3 or 4 that are like curved like bunches of bananas. Notice that? Overreact, how dare you! So, this has terraforming. Make no mistake, this game has, like, this isn't even, like, somebody compared to Valheim. Valheim isn't this much. This is Subnautica terraforming. Before they had to can it because it was too much of an issue for computers to, like, remember and run. So the fact that Nintendo is putting a Donkey Kong game with such insane levels of terraforming, like, it has to reform eventually. There's no way that it could be possibly permanent. But the fact that they're even including it, like, that's wild. Look at that. Like, they're just making pits and tear down an entire hill for, like, with almost no effort. We gotta get up this rock. It's the last thing we ever do. It's Minecraft. Well, I don't think this is Minecraft 2. It doesn't seem like there's much crafting or building. It's interesting that the villains is just a small monkey with gold grills. Not that I work on Minecraft 2. That's true. And, like, see, yeah, this is closer to the rarer design, at least in color scheme, and, like, the tie. It doesn't have the overalls, I think, also really don't help. Because, like, Donkey Kong doesn't wear it. Like, the weird thing about the overalls is that it draws attention to the fact that Donkey Kong doesn't normally wear anything other than a necktie. Which then makes you think about, like, yeah, it is kind of weird that it doesn't really wear anything else. You just kind of take this for granted. And then you see him in pants, it's just like, wait, that's not right. Wait a minute, now I have to think about that more. Ugh, I don't want to think about that, but it's there now. Ugh. I mean, we don't need to see that. I'm just saying that, like, it's the whole design change thing. One of the supplies will be Odyssey style outfits for DK. Honestly, it might, and I'm kind of down for it. He's on a budget, can't afford pants and ties. Well, he did have the tie. See if I can just see. He's also got the tie, but he's also got the overalls. What do you think the Odyssey team is working on this one? It's very possible. It looks an awful lot like it looks a lot like the Kingdom of the polygonal food with the bright pink lava. It looks like that world from Odyssey. Like, this whole game has that like angular feel to it. So we're gonna get an outfit shot from Cranky. I don't know if other Kongs are gonna be present. It might be. And July. Like, this and Kirby Air Riders are currently the biggest reasons that I personally would want to get the Switch to. DK dead from rock. Alright, and that brings us to the end of the Direct. Donkey Kong Alpha for DK win. It could happen in this game. We'll find out. I do wonder how they would redesign the other Kongs to better fit DK's 1980s aesthetic, because you figure the other Kongs are also very rare designed. Diddy Kong is an entire rareware design. Cranky Kong, entirely rareware. That have only been, like, updated for Retro Studios, etc., etc. So I have to wonder how they will change that. Mario Kart World is a very big reason, but mostly for, like, the channel. Honestly, I think that I just got burned out from Mario Kart 8 taking so long. I'm sure Mario Kart World is going to be a lot of fun. It looks like it's going to be fun. Now let's talk about pricings. Yes. So we've covered now the entire Direct. There's only two things in it that we haven't really covered: pricing and Nintendo's attitude. So we'll start with the pricing first. As we've all heard, the Switch 2 alone, just that console right there, that box that you see right there, is going to be $450. If you add Mario Kart World onto it, it's a total of $500. Granted, I looked it up, and that's the same price that the PS5 was on launch for Switch 2 and Mario Kart World. Nintendo has had a history of having fairly affordable consoles. The fact that this is so high of a price means that either this thing is a powerhouse, or they're too big for their britches. Or it could be a combination. So it sits back and turns on your PC. It's going to be even more than 500. We're getting to that. I'm going off of the information as we know it right now. Pre-orders were delayed until 9. So nobody could even pre-order it yet. Now the pre-orders have been delayed even further, and from what I have heard, if I'm not mistaken, they are thinking of possibly pushing back the actual release date of the console. Entirely due to econo-political factors. We'll put it that way. Salesman, what can we do to get you to go home with a Switch today? We have financing. Given that the price of everything has been going up so much since the release, like if the Switch on release was $300. Unfortunately, it had some issues, but Nintendo was willing to work with people to get it, like, you know, free fixings for things. Like, oh, the game card wasn't being read. Like my first Switch, I actually had to buy a second one, which also means I had to buy Shovel Knight twice because I had bought that digitally and it didn't let me keep it. But I digress. So, the price of everything keeps going up and up and up. Like I said, econo-political factors that are happening as I speak. Maybe not at this exact moment because of how late it is at night. But, you know, economy being what it is. World relations being how they are. If it keeps the way it is, it's for sure going up to 650. If it's going up that high, I have a hard time even like going that way, or like. So here's my thing with it. I totally understand if nobody really wants to get it because the price point is way too high. Even less so because of the tariffs. However, I can't say the same for myself. Purely because I stream and the channel. If it were not for those two factors and the fact that this will help me to, like, helps me, it helps the channels, it just helps around here to make the content, push the content, and thus make some revenue off of people watching the content. If it weren't for those factors, it would be hard because there's some games I do want to play on it. But I would resist getting this until eventually prices would go down. I know Nintendo doesn't drop prices ever. Still, like I would need a very good reason or a decent library already like out and set to justify me getting this if it weren't for the fact that I make content with it. That is like the only reason. You think the price of the Switch 2 is already priced and prepped for the tariffs? I would like to think so. I would love to think so. That would be so good. I'm not confident. That's the problem. Hey, I'm just giving my closing thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2 and what's going on with that. If you think about this console, though, you are not getting screwed from this system. Pretty much everything you've wanted it has, and then some. That is true. Like, this isn't, like, any real backstep from the Switch, aside from, like, the control gimmicks just not being as freeing, depending on what games actually utilize the mouse gimmick. 4K possibilities and a fan built in this is right. Pretty much, there's a lot of hardware upgrades. We have yet to see how things actually run once people actually get them. But cash pricing is not factored into this. GTA 6 prices are... Huh? GTA 6 has been talked about getting $100 before the tariffs were ever even talked about. Before the dude was even president. They were talking about GTA 6 being $100. Like, I'm sorry, but that... I don't know where you heard that, but that's wrong. Like, GTA 6 being... Like, the whole GTA 6 is going to be $100. Like, no. That was talked about for, like, a year now, at least. Long before these tariffs were talked about. Or know the game price, remember, being $89 is not confirmed for literally any game except for Mario Kart, and was a bit of misinfo from Jeff Keighley. Right. Games being $80. It's a very unfortunate thing. I would be of the camp that, like, $10 should be knocked off of that cost both ways. Physical copy should be no more than $80. Digital should be $70. Like, we're completely skipping the $70 mark. It's so annoying. I'm not happy with it at all. I don't think games should be more than $60. I do understand that, like, you have to run the inflation pricing for how money was back in the 90s when games were $40, but they have $120 price tags today because that's how much the dollar has changed. Competition of Rockstar and game prices rising is why games are this high now. Okay. That's fair enough. It's fair enough. The fact that you mentioned at the beginning of that message tariffs pricing... Okay. I misunderstood what you meant by not factored into this. Size of games in the content should factor into... size of games, no. Size of games, no. Full disagree, because otherwise they're going to bloat the games immensely just to charge more. And then the game's going to run like shit because it's too big of a game for how it's supposed to run. So, full disagree on that. Size of the game, they're going to run that based on gigabytes, and that would mean that, like, the most recent Call of Duties should be, like, over $100 already. Hard to disagree. So, although we're probably going to put it into YouTube affiliate, like the shopping program, so, like, once we actually do get this and Mario Kart and play it, I personally, my own personal, unmonetarily biased opinion, if it were not for the fact that I would play this for the channel, for the stream, I would not really consider getting this. I don't even know if I should advise anybody else to maybe think about getting this. It's very pricey. Games should not be as expensive as they're making out to be, and they're only going to get more expensive if we keep letting them push it. Doesn't get to be underpriced based on what the deserved price should be, such as small-sized indie games like Battle Trouble. Exactly, that too. Besides the games and the content, not due to how large the game files are. Yes, but see, that's lawyer speak for you. If you make it size of the game, then lawyers are going to game it into, oh, then this 150 gigabyte Battle Royale Call of Duty game should be priced for $100, obviously. And then it runs like absolute dog water. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying about that. In regards to the channel and the stream, I'm probably going to try to shoot to get this day one. Because eventually, what I make will offset the console and the games. Eventually. It's going to take some time, but, like, by now, like, revenue from the channel, based on what we've played with the Switch, has paid for Mario Party Jamboree, Mario Kart, and probably the Switch itself. I don't know. I don't have the exact numbers. I'm talking out my ass. I have any likes or dislikes about the Switch too. I'm going to suggest that you rewatch this VOD starting at about the 3-hour mark, because that I go over this entire direct and give a lot of my thoughts on this. So speaking of which, I'm going to give one last thought because stream has gone on very long and I would like to get myself something to eat. So we're going to go to this and I'm going to offer my closing thoughts on the Switch 2. Well, we can stay on this because I'm still talking about it. I'm not really closing it out yet. Yeah, I know. We've been going at this for about as long as it took me to beat the rest of A Link to the Past. Let's take the playthrough game, side content replayability, not the size of the game. Yes, I totally get this what you mean. Like, that part is not in question. My point is that you got to be careful with your wording. And, you know, with this wording, yes, I do agree. Like, getting 100 hours worth of it is certainly something. All I talk about is he'll eat. Please keep talking about this most important subject, but I'm hungry. No. So last thought about this is that it's a very strange phenomenon, but the fact that it's happened multiple times is very interesting. It seems as though, and I'm sure it's not limited to just Japanese game companies, but it's very notable Japanese game companies, because we've seen it with Sony, we've now seen it with Nintendo. Sony and Nintendo have both gone in oscillating sine curves between humble and arrogant. So, like, Nintendo was actually kind of riding both lines, but they had a lot of competition that they could afford to sort of sit in the middle. Then they got a lot of humility when Sony released the PS2, the disc drive that could play DVDs. Thus, it became the second, at this point now, second most popular selling console ever. Sony got arrogant. PlayStation 3 will sell for $599 US. That was, you know, back in 2006 or whatever, around that era. That was a lot. I know we didn't quite hit the, you know, the bubble bursting in 2008 yet, but $600 for the PS3, and the leading joke, which still sometimes gets parroted around, is that the PS3 has no games. So that's kind of a thing with that. Nintendo's leading off with a really good roster for the Switch within the first couple of months. For the Switch 2, rather. And $450, that's still not bad in comparison to $599 US for Ridge Racer, Giant Enemy Crab. So the same argument will apply that will fill the game with slop to increase game price and in turn increase file size and decrease optimization. Yeah, no, that's also a very good point. But anyway, as I was saying, so that was arrogant Sony. At the same time, Nintendo was in its humble period because the GameCube, while it was maybe not a technologically spectacular system, had a really good roster, but it also sold really, really bad. And to this day, I still don't understand that, aside from just Xbox, like, just cut all the sales, and PS2 cut even more of the sales, especially considering the PS2 had that dual functionality of playing DVDs. Like, I have to wonder, if the PlayStation 2 never played DVDs, would the GameCube have had a lot more sales? Would the PS2 have been nearly as popular? Interesting what ifs, but ultimately not the point right now. So, GameCube, then the Wii. Then the Wii sold spectacularly. The only reason the Wii didn't win is because of the Xbox 360 and Xbox Live. So Xbox Live happened. Xbox 360 won that console generation. You know, this was the heart of the console wars right then. PlayStation came out with the PS4. They had gotten humbled, so they released PS4 for, I think it was $400? I don't remember off the top of my head. I looked it up earlier and I don't remember. So they released it for that. So PlayStation was humble. Then they started getting good games. They got the deal with FromSoft to make Bloodborne, etc., etc. Nintendo, however, because of the Wii success, achieved arrogance. They figured that just using the name Wii and putting it on the Wii U would be enough to propel the game forward. Unfortunately, they were wrong. They misstepped horribly when it came to advertising, and they didn't make it different enough to really make people understand that, hey, this is not a peripheral, this is an entirely new console. So thus, they received humility, and then when the consoles swung up for the next gen, around the Switch, at this point, Xbox had also achieved arrogance, but because they're an American company and also could focus on a lot of other products, they could kind of afford to sort of ignore Xbox from being a major contender anymore, and that hence why they still make the console, but it's essentially just a glorified PC at this point. Not even glorified, kind of stripped. But Nintendo needed to pick it back up because like people were really decrying, like, oh, this is gonna be the end of Nintendo. Their sales numbers were down. The Wii U was a flop, despite how many good things the Wii U had. So then they went to the drawing board. And then in 2016, they pitched a lot of advertising for this new console called the Switch. Set to release in 2017 with a Legend of Zelda as the launch title. And not just any Legend of Zelda, the first open world Legend of Zelda title. Back when open world games were a lot more in demand. Nowadays, not so much. They kind of oversaturated the market. Not them specifically. Final thoughts of this news and the pricing would be so far, just buy the controllers, Pro and GameCube if you're looking for new controllers, but wait for a price increase in the main console. Ignore the camera, please. Also, Nintendo stays their ground, does not decrease the price then. Wait for the internet to do its thing and play the game through other means. After buying and dumping from the cartridge yourself, of course. Of course, naturally. And I wouldn't blame you. Any of you. Anyone. Whatsoever. But yeah. So now we got the Switch. So Nintendo was humble. They made the Switch. They also knew, however, looking at PlayStation, that they needed to have more to it. Just having a console wasn't enough. So then we got amazing games. They ported over Mario Kart 8, turned to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, made an entire new set of tracks for it, and included it as a fairly priced, if I do say so, DLC spread out across multiple months. It was they doubled the amount of courses in the game. Insane. Breath of the Wild. An absolutely insane large game. And then COVID happened, which also helped, I think, boost Switch sales because then people could just buy it. And then they had time to play it because we were all under lockdown. Animal Crossing happened. I don't think Doom was on it, but really Animal Crossing was the big thing. People were clamoring for new Animal Crossing. It finally happened, and just in time for COVID. I think that they might be slightly realizing with Tears of the Kingdom, considering I don't think that was as much of a success. Pokemon, of course, is always going to be a success. Between Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet, of course. Doom was on the Switch, but don't know if it was during the beginning of lockdown or not. I don't remember either. Wheelchair Ball is not going to be... Wheelchair Ball is that coming out this year? I thought that wasn't coming out until next year. I think I'm thinking of a different... I think I'm thinking of Dustblood's 2026 splash screen. Regardless. So now Nintendo is riding the biggest high that they've had since, you know, the NES and the SNES. Like before Sega really pushed into the market with the Genesis doing what Nintendo. Practically the same. Anyway. Hey, Bloodborne had wheelchair guys. They had miniguns. So what we're seeing right now is a massive valley of arrogant Nintendo. They kind of lost where they were with the Switch. They think they can get away with some more things. Yeah, okay. The Switch 2 has a lot of good upgrades between like the fan and the dock, the upgraded resolution, just the general hardware power. Hopefully the sticks have fixed drift. They didn't talk about that much. And, you know, the other things like that. The camera's dumb. We don't need the Kinect 2. We really don't. It's a neat concept as a concept. It did not need to be actualized. I hope that hardly anybody buys that peripheral. Ultimately, it's ultimately it could be so much better. But there's also ways it could be so much worse. And we have Furukawa running the company of failing pretty hard. Another thing to note is who was in charge at the time and how the Switch was Iwata's last big project. That is very true. Iwata was working on that before his unfortunate demise. You kind of got to wonder, how would it be different if Iwata had recovered? Like, this is a guy who took... This is a CEO who took pay cuts. Instead of laying off staff, he cut his own salary when the Wii U was failing to make sure that the company could stay like good and make sure that the workers could stay paid. Will we get that with Furukawa? It's a good question. So we are unfortunately in very peak arrogant Nintendo that we haven't seen since the Wii U's launch 10 years ago. 10 plus years, rather. He can do the same thing now, but for the consumers, or at least to the best he could. I hope so. I mean, this is the man who reprogrammed Earthbound practically from scratch. Because, like, just to fix it. So yeah, my ultimate final thoughts on this matter are, I don't know if I could in good faith recommend getting the Switch day one, the Switch 2 rather. Nintendo is kind of on some bullshit. They need to be dialed back. Will they be dialed back? It's hard to tell. But I hope they will. I hope that the tariffs don't entirely ruin things. I hope that they're not... Like, if the prices are factored in, like, they could easily have fixed up that graphic, because it could have been $70 with $60 digital download. And they only changed it because of hearing about the tariffs and, like, anticipating it and thus pricing ahead of time. I mean, Switch 2 for $450, yeah, it's expensive, and every dollar counts nowadays, considering, like, you know, eggs are $5 a carton nowadays. Well, I think they're $4 a carton, but still, that's, what, 12 eggs per carton, $4, so that's $1 for 3, that's 33 cents per egg. You know, 30-ish years ago, 30 cents was a third of a carton. You get an entire dozen for 90. It's crazy. I think the Switch 2 will be worth buying for. For a lot of people, maybe not. However, because of streamers, such as myself, or other content channels, who will get it, in a way, you'll be able to see the games played vicariously and not have to play them, not have to spend the exorbitant cash yourself on it. I mean, back then, 2 cents was worth a lot more, but regardless, it's practically like you're at Oxford. Instead of go taco, maybe 2 tacos. I mean, I've got some Cheez-Its. I'm gonna be having those, and I'm really hungry at this point. Especially gonna be big for Latitude. Honestly, it really could get new games for it, even if we don't do full playthroughs. Just like 20 minutes, and then spend some time on a review of what we think of the game so far. That could be a really good format for us. That we don't have to, like, we're not obligated to play through the entire game. We can give our thoughts on the game, because it'll still be kind of new, and not as many people have bought it. And that way, if, like, secondhand ones ever come out, or if Nintendo drops their prices, then, you know, then people can make their adjustments then based on what we say. So breaking the Switch 2 prank. No. That's a lot of money to be down. Tacos will be in the mail tomorrow. Why are you mailing me tacos? Tacos in the mail? I don't want tacos in the mail. They're gonna get soggy. First they'll get soggy, then they'll get cold. Nobody wants a cold, soggy taco. Doesn't actually have to be the Switch 2. Well, yes. But I'm somebody who does like to do certain things, such as this, on the genuine hardware. I've got a capture card for it. I've used it for the Switch already. there's no real reason for me not to, aside from just the price point. Yeah, it'll be expensive, but I will get returns on it. Most, the average person doesn't get returns on this. This is pure, like, sunken costs entertainment. I actually get something out of this. Even if it's dribs and drabs, eventually it will pay for itself. If it weren't for that, the fried dopamine receptors in my brain are just like, but nope. I would try my best not to. I would do exactly what I'm saying would happen with you guys. I would let somebody else stream it, and I would watch it that way. Sure, I wouldn't get to actually play it. But I have a hard time supporting this with... I have a hard time supporting this wholeheartedly. Alright, I have talked long enough. Given my thoughts on the Switch 2. Honestly, it was fun to just kind of talk about this for almost 3 hours. Man, this was a long stream. I did not expect... I expected to be about an hour, hour and a half. Talk about this. But hey, we had a good conversation, and... yeah. Just chatting stream we need from time to time. I kind of need to have a big topic, though, for it to last this long. So, like, maybe if I can... like, if something happens, or if I just find something that I know that I can talk about, like a big presentation like this, then yeah. So, not as long as the Majora's Master. Or the Pikmin 4 final boss. If you just want a big topics back to back. Yeah, I guess part of it is also just, like, I don't know how well the topics... like, this, I know, like, I'm a video game streamer. Of course this topic is going to resonate. I don't know how well other topics might resonate for a 4-hour stream. I would try to get it to about 4... like, maybe, like, a 2-hour game, 2-hour chat that could go however much. I don't see how my opinions on the Switch 2 and what I think are good or bad business practices are therapeutic. If anything, my throat just kind of hurts from talking for 3 hours straight. Alright, y'all are distracting me. I need to get, not to bed, but I need to... It's 2 a.m. I really want to eat at 2 a.m. Yeah, I'll have a little bit. I want to get out of here. Y'all can have a wonderful night. You can find my VOD archive at an Unmatched VOD archive on YouTube, and you can find my on Twitter at Unmatched_sock. You can find links to both of those below. Stream here every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Next week we're going to be starting with Banjo-Kazooie because I have a hankering for such a game. Let's schedule for next Friday. Already done. That's what such as a small price of $4.99. No. Yes, thank you so much everybody for tuning in and listening to me ramble for 3 hours, or I think the modern term is yap now. Listening to me yap for 3 hours, and for 3 hours before that, finishing up A Link to the Past. This is fun. A real yapologist. I don't know. I could probably do like video essay type content, just like 10 minutes straight on like stuff. Spend 10 minutes explaining why Mario Party 2 has the most objectively best mini games out of the entire series. Anyway, yeah. So that's that, and hope you all have a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend, and a wonderful upcoming week. I will see you all on the next stream. Like I said, Banjo-Kazooie, right here, 8 p.m. Eastern on next Friday. Good stream. See y'all next time.